I can't believe you all ranked. Oh my gosh, at World's End or the World's End so low. Like I thought it was the best movie that Edgar Wright's ever made.
You guys just don't get it, all right?
Andy,
No,
you
no,
got
like,
me
you
for a
guys
second.
weren't with me. I think
No, you weren't with
the
me.
best
It was you and
movies
me.
ever
We
done.
got outvoted. You know what I mean? We were very
agree with
clear.
the audience, they have a right to be mad. You guys are
It was one of those, I was sleeper selling it where I wanted to say that I didn't like the movie to see, so we could get you guys all the,
Sure.
yeah, we got him, audience, you and me.
You got. Welcome to Kind of Funny's Edgar Wright in review. This is the final episode for now. We will return one day with Last Night in Soho when it happens. But for now, of course, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Waco Flame.
God, I love you sometimes, and other times you're just
Nicky's
you.
a rapper.
Waka
No, he's
Flocka
not.
Flame. Yeah. We also have the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
I think we can start to aggregate all of the first words that Greg has put together to kind of put together an overarching story of all these little things that he'll just like start off a show with.
It's
And
like
I
when
think
they
we can create a
capitalize every
world.
letter in like a multiple pair, like, you know, in a
Yes.
letter, and then that's the real
Yes.
message. I'm going to spell out Ragnarok if you put it all together and play it backwards.
Where's Waka Flame going down that one? How do you spell Ragnarok with a W?
You know what? If you don't get it, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
hey man.
Of course, we have Nick
I guess I do.
Scarpino.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Happy to be here. Happy to be alive.
The big dog, Kevin Coelho.
I think he was just shortening the name, and that makes a lot of sense. He said first name, last name, excluded the middle name. Totally fine, right?
I'm just in a hurry. You know what I mean? I don't have time for all of these names.
Absolutely.
Too many names.
Too many names.
I do appreciate, Greg, that an hour ago, while I assume you were recording P.S. I Love You, you did just tweet out "Goo Goo Blood," and I can just hear you saying it.
I get it.
Just
Goo goo blood.
exactly how it
What I
sounded
like
in my
to do
head.
is I like to, you know, it's similar to what you guys just proposed here, where I like people to look at my Twitter and be like, that guy's crazy. But then people listen to the podcast and they look back like, oh, he was ahead of his time. He was making the jokes as if I was in the live chat watching the show with him.
Speaking of
Like
ahead of
right
your
now, let's
time-
make up something. Let's make up something for me to tweet right now. What do you want to say? Belly buttons are gross.
It's not.
Are they gross? Did someone say that
it's
in
just
the
not.
chat? What is
Say that like
what's your
it's like a hot
brain?
take.
It scares you when he
Andy,
laughs
let me ask you a
that way.
question. Andy,
It's gone. 1.2 million people. They don't understand.
We can't stop it.
Here's the secret language, everybody. If you see me tweet something all lowercase, no punctuation, it's a podcast joke. That's what you need to know. There is a podcast happening, all right?
If he does it in all caps, he's lost it. Everybody run.
What's that?
Everybody run.
That was a genuine laugh of me catching myself off guard. Clear the mechanism. What do you want to say to the world?
Belly buttons are
gross.
Nick Scarpino from Kind
I
of
actually
Funny.
I have a question for Andy. Andy, if you had 1.2 million Twitter followers, would you just throw caution to the wind with reckless abandon and just tweet out belly buttons are gross? Would you think to do that?
And an hour and a half ago, Goo Goo Blood.
Oh my God. You can watch this show for free by going to youtube.com/kindafunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to listen to it, search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Reviews and we will be there for you. But if you want to get the show early as we are recording it, ad free, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like our Patreon producers, Graham of Legend, David Mintel, Al Tribesman, Cassandra Ramirez, Sven McHale, James Davis, and the nanobiologist all did. Thanks to all of their support in the month of January, we were able to hit so many of our goals, including a whole bunch of upcoming in review franchises. And since this is the last week of Edgar Wright, I'm very, very, very excited to announce the next in review that we will be doing. Kev, can you get this ready so we can check out the intro?
Yeah, give me a second, because I remember
I was
like
singing it
we
for you,
talked about it, and then
Meanwhile, we are
forgot.
also doing Indiana Jones in review. That will return. You guys will see that.
These are the
this
first
Friday.
Moofies Blessings ever watched.
Goofies.
Movies. The first movies.
God damn it. I want to fucking be on Greg's level so hard.
Greg, reply to that tweet you just put out with just moofies.
I'm on it, Andy.
All right, we
So
ready?
we will be continuing with Indiana Jones in review and this highly
Wait,
requested.
real quick,
Spelled
Tim.
it wrong.
Yeah.
Before you do that, do we want it just full screen
How do
covering
you
everything?
smell it?
Do I want what?
Do you want it just full screen covering everything?
It doesn't matter. This is fine.
Okay.
But it's
All right.
a very, very anticipated in review series. Here
Ready?
we go. We are going to be ranking and reviewing every single Pornhub video that there is.
Excellent.
Nick,
I was
you
born for
requested this personally, and so many people backed you up. So we're going to start. It will be one video a week, so I don't know how long. This is going to be a very long in review.
Well, if you guys consume porn with the rate that me and Andy consume porn, then we can be done in about a week and a half, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, this is not real, but the idea came up between me, Cameron Kennedy, and Carter Harrow. Like, we're fucking doing it. We're gonna put resources towards this high quality.
That
joke.
took 7 hours of work. That intro.
I love. So here's the thing, chat. You got to be cool. Everyone has to be cool because what we're gonna do is on April Fool's Day, we're gonna tweet this video out. And then
I
the
love
world
it.
will know.
I do think we could have had a. If you love kind of funny, you'll love kind of funny live.
That's great.
Oh,
That's
God.
That's really funny. That's
But-
really funny.
Cameron nailed it with the beer falling over on the laptop. Can you play it one more time, Kev?
Oh wow! I didn't even recognize that. That's
There's
fantastic.
there's a lot going on here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Such an inside story, man. Again, we hate audio listeners. Look at this. This is wild.
Everything gets to listen to it.
Mofies.
It's so good. So good. But no, okay, Kev, can you please play the next video now that is the actual next in review?
Man, that
starts next week.
Pornhub motion graphics has no business being as good as it actually
Are you
is.
guys
It
ready?
is
Like the real
fire.
one. Every time I see it, I'm like, who the fuck did that? Like, how can I follow this person? Oh wait, there it is. Nasty.
Let's fucking go. Magic Mike 1 and 2, which I forgot was called Magic Mike Double XL. Very exciting to watch this for the first time. We'll start that next week. But for now, we're finishing out Edgar Wright in review with Baby Driver with a runtime of 1 hour, 53 minutes, released on June 28th, 2017. Directed once again by Edgar Wright, a budget of $34 million, a box office of $226.9 million. A fun thing here is the studio pressured Edgar Wright to cut the foot chase scene because the movie was starting to go over budget. And Wright was like, no, take it out of my salary. We got to make this all happen.
Damn.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It was nominated for a ton of awards, including 3 Academy Awards, Best Film Editing, Best Sound Editing, and Best Sound Mixing, but did not win any of them. Before we get too far into this, Andy Cortez, what did you think about Baby Driver?
Once again, good ass movie. Seen it multiple times. I think it's maybe like my 5th or 6th time. It's just a movie that is really well paced. There's a couple of moments that don't make a whole lot of sense, but you kind of just brush it off because the movie's entertaining and fun and fast. And yeah, it's just a movie I dig. I think it's so you feel the kinetic energy when you're watching it. And I remember we all watched it together at Draft House, and it was cool kind of remembering the moments that the crowd popped for and kind of just feeling that again. Just a really, really fun movie, and I'm glad that it exists because it's one of those that I think is really fun to rewatch and introduce to people of like, hey, you may never have heard of this Edgar Wright guy, but oh, you don't care about action movies? Oh, you don't care about car movies? Who gives a shit? This is just a good movie. Like, period. You don't have to be into any genres to, I think, enjoy it. It's just fun and really interesting.
Kev.
It's phenomenal. It's one of those movies that's like the editing isn't like over the top where it was, I think, with some of the other movies that he's done, but like it's so everything like it's like the fine-tuned version of the last movie we just saw. Not the last one, the one before that. Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, where it's just it flows so well together in a way that isn't like comical or over the top, and it's so well made, and like the characters are also like John Hamm's character goes from being like, oh, he's like the nice guy in the group to like, oh, he's a murder machine that's gonna go after you, like, and never gonna stop. And it's like that's
Best hair in the world.
I wanted him so badly to be the good guy.
Andy,
Yeah.
give me the best hair in the world song, please?
I don't got one. Go ahead.
You're
Nick,
the
talk.
best hair in the world. Everybody's gonna touch your hair. You're the best in the world.
It rolls out the tongue.
Between John Hamm's hair and everything that Jamie Foxx wears in this movie, I just can't. Like Tim, the red camo jacket that Jamie Foxx wears in this is the coolest fucking thing anyone's ever worn on screen before in my life. Period.
Shout out to Jamie Foxx, just period.
He's great.
I
Yeah,
had
he's
a moment
great in
where I
this.
was like, it's crazy how talented he is as an actor and as a successful music artist. And I was like, what did he start as? And it's kind of like he started as both. He was just like out the gate, like, fuck it.
Dude, he was on In Living Color.
Yeah,
He was a comedic actor. So for him to be able to actually have chops in this and be really menacing in this is just, it speaks volumes to his range, man.
It's
What
one of those
else
things
do
where
you
I'm
think
like,
about the movie, Nick?
I just want him in more stuff. I want Jamie Foxx in more things.
This one I'm always lukewarm on. I watched this in theaters. I was like, it's fine. It's a fun. I think the action set pieces are really, really fun. I think the choreography is really, really creative. But I just don't vibe with the story. And truth be told, I don't really vibe with the musical choices in this, which I think is what kind of throws me off. Like, I think a lot of the songs, I'm just not really familiar with the era they're drawing from. And so like I could hear the hints of the songs that have been like sampled throughout the years. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was a sample for a song. So I should know that. But I think whenever he starts playing music and stuff, with the exception of like the Commodores or Barry White, I'm just kind of at a lacking in that regard. So I think the movie's fun. It's my second time seeing it. I don't need to see it again. But I'll be interested to hear where we rank it on the list of the best Edgar Wright movies.
Greg Miller.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can't complain.
What did you think about Baby Driver?
I think Baby Driver is Edgar Wright at the pinnacle of what he can do and how he directs. I think it's been awesome to watch do in review and watch all these movies from him in succession, right, one right after another, and see him learning from them and changing, adapting, and going, and to get to this and have it be the final one for now, I think makes so much sense, because this is the one that I watch and I'm like, he is at the top of his game and everything. The cast is phenomenal. It visually is stunning. The way it's shot, the quick cuts we've talked about from the beginning. I feel like it's the master of all the powers he has as a director to have it be the film that it is. Of course, and I do want to point this out. We didn't talk about it in this episode. We talked about it last week's episode or 2 weeks episode. I don't even remember. At some point, if you're not watching all of them, we had talked about the Ansel allegations and the Kevin Spacey allegations, obviously, for both of them being trash people. And that we've talked about that. And the most important thing, of course, is to not be an asshole to people, not violate people, not treat people like shit. And if you're being treated like shit, you do not deserve to be treated like shit. And you should be, you should know there are obviously a bunch of different resources for you to go get help. And you should talk to people and you should seek out help. No one deserves to be treated shittily or taken advantage of. And I want to make sure we say that here so everybody understands that we are, for this Edgar Wright in review, separating art from artists, right? Like, it's very hard to watch Kevin Spacey in a film or whatever, and I don't want to act like we're not going to talk about it at all or touch on any of it. I think it's important to talk about it, but it is this thing that like fucking John Hamm destroys in this thing, right? Ansel, who I don't know from Adam, obviously, I think is so good in this. The girl he plays against is so good in this. Jamie Foxx, John Bernthal, even Kevin Spacey, who is creepy on another level for different reasons, but in this movie, creepy as that character as well. Like, this is only my second time seeing Baby Driver, but it was coming up to this, right? Hey, will it shine as bright as I remember it? Because I do remember really liking it, and it totally did. And it was one of those things that I was like, oh man, I got to get on Spotify and follow the playlist for this and everything else. Like, I think this movie is just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm definitely closer to Nick than it seems like you guys are on this one, where I love so many elements of it. And I feel like when it is shining and is pure Edgar Wright, it's really, really, really strong and is like a super fun music video. But I think that it is one of those things when you look at it as a whole movie, it's like really just like, it's fun and it's pretty cool, but it's not as the sum of its parts is the whole thing, where I'm like, every individual element of this is so great, like debatably 10 out of 10, but when you put it together, it just doesn't work for me as a whole. And it definitely bums me out, because I think there's a lot of plot choices, character choices that are made where I'm like, this just seems weird. And I love the music in this one, and I love the way that it edits and all that stuff, but I just think that it's kind of lacking a heart to it. It just kind of feels like style for style's sake.
If I can jump in right there with you, you do nail it. That is one of my things that I find myself, we're not to rankings yet, obviously, but as such a Shaun of the Dead fan, as such a Hot Fuzz fan, I think this movie is the song, like him at the full height of his powers, but I do think the heart is lost. Where it is like, this is a Hollywood movie, which is great and comes with different things to it, and it's not as like shoestring as Shaun of the Dead, or clearly a buddy picture as Hot Fuzz, and I mean behind the scenes buddy picture. And that does resonate with me. That it is this thing, but does it have the heart? Sorry, Tim.
And I mean, with the heart, to me, it's kind of just like, I don't even want to say it's style over substance, because I do think that there is substance here. I just don't vibe with the substance. And when you look at all of his movies, I think they work best when it is very dialogue focused and character driven, in the way that like everything that the different characters are saying to each other is part of the whole thing and part of the experience and part of the editing and part of like the Edgar Wright-ish essence of the whole thing. And I feel like taking the British side out of it and this being just like a purely American movie kind of, I feel like, makes a lot of the style not as added up together to like working for me.
You can say it, Tim. Americans are boring. We know. I
mean, yeah.
We just work all day in the fields, come home to our modest log cabins, and go to bed.
Wow, it was a beautiful Norman Rockwell painting you got in your head right now. Sorry, Tim.
Even just like with the action stuff, I think like the action is phenomenal, and the choreography to the music and to all of that is so great. But I think that where it falls apart for me is this is a fantastical world. It's a musical. Like every single thing that's happening is to the beat of music. And it's like, that's some weird sci-fi shit that's like not really explained. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But that feels like it fits more in like a Scott Pilgrim type world. And we have these characters that take themselves so seriously that I feel like it just doesn't work for what the world's actually set up, especially with the way this movie ends. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. Every time I watch this movie, it ends and I'm just like, damn, like everything about this is awesome, but it just doesn't work for me. And I feel like the pitch of this movie and the premise, the conversation in the diner between Baby and Deborah, where they're talking about how many songs have their name in it. I'm like, obviously, this to me feels like the Edgar Wright's entire vision for this, where he thought about that. He's like, fuck, that's really cool. Then he started listening to some songs and was like, oh, I can totally see a cool action scene. And that's what this whole movie ends up being, which is cool. But I feel like the movie never is as good as that back and forth of dialogue at the diner.
I agree.
I'm right there with you, Tim. Like I remember watching the movie Drive and thinking it was going to be so I watched Drive, right, and my expectation of Drive is what sort of Baby Driver is. And then of course Baby Driver comes out 6-7 years later, and I watch Baby Driver, and I'm kind of glad that Drive wasn't that, right. Drive was much more of a character study, and I think that's where this movie kind of falls apart for me a little bit, because Baby's just such a weird character that doesn't necessarily hit on a deep level for me. And then we'll talk about the ending once we get there, which is just, man, I just feel like Edgar Wright had a couple of problems with endings there toward the last couple movies that he made. But I just to paint the film in a positive manner. I'm sorry, Kevin, to keep cutting you off. No, I love the fact that the whole premise of the movie is from the escape driver's perspective. I love that we never go into the bank. We never go into those things. I think that's so cool. And then again, just to highlight the absolutely stunning choreography with all the cars is just some of the best I've ever seen in any films.
I just wanted to say that, like, earlier, Nick, you were saying that, like, none of the songs really hit with you. I 100% agree with that, where like I felt like every song was like, oh, that's an interesting choice. I remember, I think when we walked out of it, I was like, I think I was talking to Tim and I told him, like, I was like, it sounds like all the songs, like he wanted to do this without like any expensive songs, and Tim was like, no, the songs came first, which to me is just a little odd, because I feel like it would have meant more, like the movie would have had more heart if like the songs like were stronger hits. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy, like the first one, like a lot of those songs were older and we hadn't heard in a while, but like when they came up, I was like, oh shit, like this old song that is super cool and I had forgotten about. Yeah. And that
like
adds
Fleetwood
so
Mac
much.
Break the Chain, right? I always remember that, where I'm like, every time I listen to that, I'm like, God, what a great song, and it gets you back into that. And I'm sure to Edgar Wright, that is what it is, right? I'm sure these songs hit on a very personal level with him, and perhaps he grew up listening to them and was like, everyone should absolutely know these songs. And to be fair, a lot of these songs are classics. And then when you hear it, you're like, oh shit, I haven't heard that Barry White song in a hot second, or the Commodores, or any other ones I recognize. And I'm sure all of them are very, very, in their own right. There's probably people watching this going, dude, how could you not know X, Y, and Z song? But for me, it's just music's such an intimate thing that it either works for you or it doesn't. And if he had picked stuff that was a little bit more contemporary, like maybe 80s and 90s, obviously for me that would have been amazing. And I would have been like, this is the greatest movie ever made.
I'm way more on Greg's side with it, where it got me interested in those songs that I had never heard.
Yeah.
And they're so catchy for me that I'm waking up and I'm hearing several of the songs that are going on. Go ahead, Greg.
I do agree. I'm still with Andy, and I still want to listen to these songs, yada yada. But I do agree that they don't, and I can't tell you why, that they don't hit like Guardians did. Mm-hmm. And I do feel, even watching it was that thing of like watching Baby Driver, wanting to have it get to the hook of a song and me be like, I know this jam, we're in, because it was that way for Guardians. The example I always think of is Yondu at the end when he's whistling. He's whistling and Rocket's controlling, right? And the thing's going, and it's the south of the border. It came to that man Jose. Vamos, Jose's on his way. That was like. Going. When I heard her say, "Come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man."
Yeah, I love that song.
And that's it though. Like,
but like when that hits in Guardians, but when that hits in Guardians, I remember being like, you're talking, Kevin, of like, oh my God, I haven't heard this song since I was a kid, riding in my dad's truck, listening to Dick Biondi, classic oldies in Chicago. And when I was with my dad listening to that song, I heard it all the time. Mm-hmm. But like when I grew into my own musical taste and moved away from it, I never did. And so that's what I had a base level to it. So it's unfair to judge that way, but I am in the same boat of like nothing in Baby Driver's catalog is that thing of like, oh yeah, Deborah, of course. The Beck, when they start talking about the Beck song, Deborah, and I'm like, I have no idea what the song is. And then they eventually play it, I'm still no idea what the song is.
I agree with Tim about a lot of the dialogue where Edgar Wright has a very poetic nature with how he writes, where so many of the conversations just would never happen in real life. And this movie has a decent amount of that, but then it quickly becomes a Western action flick with not a whole lot of that sort of, I don't know, that lovely dialogue that he's so good at writing. That table at the seat at the diner's table with Baby and Deborah is so memorable because it is sort of the epitome of that writing in this movie. And there's a couple other moments where Jamie Foxx has some really, really good, catchy little quips here and there that are very poetic in that nature. Or, at the very, very end where John Hamm is like, "Song's over, baby." Mm-hmm. I love those little moments like that. There's just not enough of it because it quickly becomes kind of a Western action movie.
But I do love, the one thing we haven't talked about is I do love, even if I don't love the song choices, like from a just personal level in terms of like attachment to them, I do love the way it almost plays and feels like a musical, but they're not singing. Where the gunshots are always in rhythm, right? Him tapping his feet or his fingers or whatever. Like anything that's happening that's making a noise is in the rhythm of the song, and part of it
intro,
almost like another instrument.
All of the words, the graffiti all over the place.
Yeah, that's cool. I do want to I like a lot of the writing. I like how these characters talk, but I feel like maybe it's like I guess it's around halfway. I feel like Kevin Spacey's character just goes too far, where it's like there's something he says in an elevator where it's like, oh, now you're too much of a comic book, and it's just like, or comic book character, and it just doesn't fit. Like he goes from being a very real serious guy to like then kind of giving him the out and being like, oh, it's about love, and it's just like that. I felt like
that was a weird.
Opposite.
I always thought that was a weird turn too for him, because he was like, I was in love once, and then he goes and takes John Hamm. What I had expected was that John Hamm's character would have been the one to help try to save him, and then Kevin Spacey killed him too, because Kevin Spacey obviously from the get-go is like that mob boss that's like gonna be your friend, but really he's just gonna screw you over
can't
and
leave.
Get you indebted to him. You can't leave, right?
Yeah. And even after you're done being indebted to him, you still can't leave. Now you're just gonna get more money, is what it is, right?
Like
also, this movie should rank way lower on the list because they did John Bernthal just wrong. How you gonna do John Bernthal?
He got
like that?
top
He's
billing.
in one scene and then he's gone.
Yeah, but it was a
Yeah.
good
Hey, man,
scene.
he was the
He
height.
looked tough, very
Had
attractive.
his Walking
you know?
Dead powers. And then they just
Such
bring in
great
Jamie
hair.
Foxx to be the next guy who's just mad at Baby.
It was
for
just
no reason.
better, but he
Yeah.
was better. Like Jamie Foxx was crazy.
I hate you, baby.
It's
Hate
also,
you so
I mean,
much.
and this is unfortunate for me. That I think one of the other things that sticks out to me is that just the baby character Ansel Elgort as an actor, I just don't think meshes very well with the rest of the people that they surround him with. Even Lily James, who I think has a lot more charisma in those scenes, and so a lot of those dialogue scenes for me between them kind of fall short because she's at like a level 100 and he's coming in with a 60 level energy, and I would not have put those two on screen together and seen Edgar Wright must have seen the chemistry in them that I just simply don't see come through.
I think that's part of the characterization,
Yeah.
though. I think that's
Yeah.
what who Baby is supposed to be because very much so at the beginning you kind of get that sort of nervous, timid nature of him. But I think the chemistry is fucking insatiable. What
Yeah,
about
me
that
too.
one?
Really?
How do you feel about
I
that?
think the
see,
chemistry
I don't-
between them two
I like
is
that
Good word,
especially
Andy.
in
That's
the-
a good word.
Interesting.
Couldn't spell it though.
Thank you. Nope.
when they're at the laundromat, I was just like, I
Yeah.
believe in them so much. Like this feels
Like,
like these
oh,
feel
man.
like two real people that are like horny as hell.
Can we just for a second though talk about the
There you go.
laundromat scene? Like, was that supposed to be all her clothes? Has she not done clothes for a year?
No, it wasn't supposed to be all
Okay.
her.
Kevin,
All
they're
right.
young. They're
It was
22
very
years old.
color coordinated.
Very color
though.
coded. Yeah.
But
Which I
It's the-
liked.
I mean,
don't get
again,
me wrong, and
that's-
that's the comic book.
I feel at the end of the movie, like we're talking about how this, not the scene changes that much, but like what reality is in the movie or whatever. I don't think the rules are established super well until the very end when people start getting shot and they're not really reacting. You know what I mean? Where like Darling gets shot in the thing and maybe it just grazes her fine. But even when they come out of the elevator and the real shooting starts, like Kevin Spacey gets shot a couple times, like, God damn it. And he's like, and like he dies, don't get me wrong. But it's like you get a bit more of like what the rules we're playing with are here that I feel like we didn't have earlier. That would have been like, okay, why are the things going? Because it feels like La La Land with the colors at
Yeah.
times when they're in the.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the shooting was more of like Kevin Spacey's character was meant to be like a badass, guy running things. What earlier we've seen security guards and cops and
Yeah.
other people get shot and go down right away. So I always thought like also Darling, like that was like Darling's a badass. You know what I mean? She gets shot in the shoulder, she's totally fine. It's John Hamm's like, oh, you shot my or Buddy's line of like, you shot my girl. Not cool. It's just or whatever.
I mean, you want
Yeah.
to me, you want to talk about two characters or two actors that have tremendous amounts of chemistry. Those two, John Hamm and
yeah.
Isa Gonzalez?
Oh, yeah.
Isa Gonzalez. Holy calamity! When they're in the back seat of that car,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Remember that guy you stabbed?" I'm like, "Yeah, fucking
Which one?
stab him, John Hamm." He's like, "Which one?" She's like, "The guy that looked at me wrong." I was like, "Yeah, fucking guy looked at me wrong." She goes, "Bass just looked at me wrong." I'm like, "Oh
Dude,
shit!"
it's so good.
He gonna kill him now,
it's
and I don't
really
want either of these people to die. I want all of them to make out. But yeah, so I want that story. I want the story of how he went from being the financial broker, got in too
Aw,
deep with
man.
gambling or whatever,
When
and
Bats
then
breaks it down and you see John Hamm just seething. I'm sorry, let me try that again. When you see Mizzou alum John Hamm just seething
thank you,
right
Greg.
there.
Thank you. I was
destroying
waiting
it.
for it. How dare you?
Fucking kidding me right now? M-I-Z, John Hamm.
He's so good. John Hamm and Jamie Foxx need to be in so many more movies.
You guys,
Straight up, man.
if we get a backstory, I wanted to be like, what's up with Jamie Kennedy?
Gilbert
or no,
Grape.
what's
Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Foxx? There it is.
Jamie
Sorry.
Kennedy?
Jamie Foxx's necklace, which is just a finger. Like, what's the backstory behind that? Yeah, I pulled up
I
his
love
red
all the
outfit.
costuming and the tattoos and all that stuff. It's like it's just style and it's really freaking cool. And the best compliment I can give this movie is
dope.
the sound design is phenomenal. And I honestly, unlike anything I've ever heard, it's mixed in Atmos in the most meticulous where they're actually taking songs and separating the instruments to like be wherever they need to be to like visually tell the story and have that all match up. And it is just like one of the most insane things that even if you're listening, closing your eyes and just having it all happen, it feels like you're inside the music. And like that is something that I have never experienced with a movie before. And it's the entire way through this. And anytime that there's not music playing and you just kind of hear the ringing of the tinnitus, it's like, that's such a great choice. And it's such a great way to immediately get you in with the main character for the movie. But
One of the coolest openings, I think, to hook an audience. Like they're just it's the characterization of Baby sitting there in the car singing along, oh, and the music's fucking like sick as shit, and then You get into
soon
the
as it's go
car and it's
time?
the bell bottom song, and then all the way up until they get into the. You hear the radio say, "Look around for a red whatever," and they all get into the other car and just peace out, and the music fades away. Bell bottom, bell bottom. It's just like, dude, what a perfect way to get an audience into watching your movie. I think it's such a great way to not only show the characters, but just show like set the tone of what's going to happen in the next hour and a half or 2 hours.
Let's get to the plot.
P-L-O-T, Nicky. Is it Greg doing the plot? I don't know who's doing the plot.
It's Greg. This is
P-L-O-T, Greggy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Baby Driver, the movie that goes fast, but not as fast as Nick Scarpino. You know what I mean, Nick? Look at him go, everybody!
He's moving.
So yeah, as we talked about already, we opened in the car, and it's a Subaru there, and Baby Driver's sitting there, and he's just sitting there rocking the music, and chilling out. You don't know what's going on, and he's having a good time. But inside, they're robbing the bank, and then they all run out and they get in the car, and then we drive away, and we get a crazy thing, and everybody's like, "Go, baby, go!" And he's like, "I'm gonna go," and he's going, but he's going in rhythm of the music. He's like,
reverse.
"Boop, boop,
He
boop."
goes reverse.
The rhythm
Starts
is gonna
going
get
reverse.
you. Yeah. He goes
Everyone's
reverse
like,
at one point.
"Go!" And he's like,
Yeah,
The
that's-
sideway wheels.
yeah,
Real cool
oof.
moment.
Like
Like,
this,
they get
woof.
back into the car. They get back into the car, and I think John Hamm goes, like, "Go forward," or
Yeah,
rather,
yeah,
it's John
reverse,
Bernthal, or
yeah.
"Go
Yeah.
forward," and he just like, "No," poof, into reverse into the cool ass like spin. He's just the coolest. Some of the coolest car scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yep. good
So,
stuff.
and almost all of it was practical. There's very, very, very little actual VFX shots in the movie as a whole. And I was reading this thing saying that a lot of the CG wasn't even to do crazy stuff. It was just to get the camera in places that you can't actually get it on a car to get the in the car shots, which is like, all right, that's kind of cool.
That reverse shot in the alleyway, or not the reverse shot, but that
Yeah,
kind
the
of turn into the
turning.
alleyway.
Little spin.
Oh my
It's this-
god, that's
he goes,
beautiful as shit.
It's like what?
So
He
sick.
flipped both times.
That's how Kevin drives in his little truck.
Hey, there's nothing little about Ranger Danger. All right, don't worry about it, Kevin. I got your back. Kevin, I want a Baby Driver remake, but it's you driving and it's Horace the Tortoise sitting there with you. You know
Horace.
what I mean? Ready to...
He's making a joke about
Horace
not knowing the turtle's name.
Horace
He knows
the
the
tortoise.
turtle's name.
I want y'all to know that I talk to Boris quite often on Instagram DMs. All right, I'm a big fan of this tortoise, and I'm happy
Yeah,
he's
I
doing
heard about
things.
you talking
But
to
I
him.
do want you to know that when I reach into the old Greg Miller mailbag here to talk, I do go to Horace first, and I can't stop. It's not a joke.
Which
It's
is
a
not
real
really like
deficiency.
not an actual name, right?
I have a
Horace.
problem.
I have
Horace
an
definitely a
issue,
name.
and
Horace
I
is a
don't know
Horace
how
is
to
a name. It's a bad name, right?
Yeah.
Horace, yeah. It's not great.
Horace
People don't name. It's
Grant.
like
It's not
Horace,
great.
Horace and Gladys were like the names that people got named in like the 1940s.
We
They
don't
were
make
Andy,
those
where you at?
anymore. Yeah, we don't make those anymore.
Andy, where are we at? Horace Grant.
Horace Grant, dude. Bulls.
Yeah, there it
Goggles.
is. That's my NBA boy.
Had the big goggles, dude.
He did. He didn't want to get poked in the eye. I
Yeah.
understand. I understand.
Uh-uh.
So yeah, he drives around real fast. Eventually, yeah, as we said, they pull in that parking garage real quick. They swap cars. Again, this is an action movie, so you will not be getting detailed recaps from Greg Miller. Please jump in whenever you want, because you're all like, and he swings in. I'm like, I remember he drove fast, and it was neat.
I mean,
some neat
it's-
driving.
It's
the
more
moment-
than that, though, man. Like,
It's
real talk,
great.
like,
No, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I'm not saying I didn't
just-
connect with it.
I want to like make sure that we're saying on the show like that the car choreography in this movie is unrivaled. Like it is definitely top tier. Like it is as good as the gun fu stuff in John Wick, just applied to cars.
The three red car moment is so cool and so clever.
Yeah.
Under the underpass, him getting in front of the other one, cutting it off, making them switch. So smart, so cool. And then I love there's that really neat shot where when he does pull that off, they show close up of Baby with John Hamm in the side seat being like, wow, that was fucking
Yeah.
sick. Like,
Yeah.
this kid's smart. Yeah, really, really cool.
So eventually, though, it's over, and we're back over into downtown Atlanta. And Baby is out on a coffee run, and the music's still playing, and he's doing cool dances and cool side steps, and he's just having a great time because the mission went really well. This is another, we talk about like Edgar Wright, right, and how much I adore Shaun of the Dead's opening of Shaun going to the quick stop, right, and then the next day going to the quick stop, and the juxtaposition of the same things happen, but one's zombified, one's not. I appreciate here, that this is what happens when the job goes well. And he's dancing and into it and into the music, and there's references to it, and he's picking up the coffee and everything's great. And then he sees obviously Deborah pass, and he
does the trumpet move.
falls in love. He's just having a great time. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Now, if you saw this guy on the street, you'd think he's on drugs, but whatever, maybe he was.
we've had all
But then when the next job goes badly, right, and you see him go get coffee, and he like runs into a guy, he's completely out of step. He's not in line with the music. I think that's a really cool mix-up of what's going on.
Totally. That one shot took 28 takes. This
Yeah,
was
because
the
it's one shot,
21st
right?
take.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, this is a stupid question. I wouldn't expect you to know this. Do you know was there one thing they were messing up a lot on the other takes, or was it just like?
It doesn't say all that.
Okay,
no.
cool. Like I said, he picks up the coffee, takes it back. They're back in, or I guess not back. This is your first time seeing it in the establishing shot of the warehouse their dock is based out of. And he's got his little toy cars and his little chalkboard thing and all this shit. And this is the debrief. They've already done the job, obviously. Gives everybody their coffee, but of course, John Bernthal. You're gonna tell me, Rick? You're gonna tell me, like from Walking Dead? We all know him really well. That was a little bit too. That was
very much Laurel's
That was
dad.
Laurel Lance. That was Laurel Lance, or Laurel Lance's dad. You're gonna tell me the arrow and Oliver Queen? Yeah, okay. Sorry.
John Bernthal it's a lot of hands on the forehead stuff. It's
Let me
always
tell you something, Rick.
He's always trying to get the sweat off his forehead.
He looks like
he's always working out.
He looks like he doesn't have cauliflower ears, but it looks like he has cauliflower ears.
Sure.
Like he has that type of face that looks like has endured a lot of boxing punches.
Yeah, boxed.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, totally, 100%.
His
100%.
face has
You're
been
right on the money there.
punched a whole bunch.
And so yeah, I forget why I don't forget why they come back here. Is it just to count up the money and get coffee? That's the thing. It's just a debrief. That's
Yeah,
all,
break
right?
up the
But
money,
then
yeah.
So yeah.
this is where John Bernthal's character decides to be a jerk to Baby, and he goes over there and he's yelling at him for wearing headphones and yelling at him for wearing sunglasses. And he
think
takes
he's
off
better
his
than us.
sunglasses. Yeah, exactly. Then he puts on another sunglasses and he slaps those sunglasses off his face. And he takes Baby's sunglasses. He's just
So
being
a
a dick.
super fun thing about the sunglasses that Edgar Wright said in an interview is the extensive collection of sunglasses and iPods that Baby owns were not bought by him. They were taken from cars he stole. If he's been stealing cars since he was 12, the main thing he would have inherited from those stolen cars are people's sunglasses and iPods because that's what they leave in the glove compartment.
smart.
It's
That's smart.
That's kind of cool.
That's why you
That
don't leave
makes
them in
sense.
there.
The
Don't leave them in
pink
there. Take them
sparkly
with
one
you.
and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he bought random ones, but that makes sense. Yeah, he's a thief and
Well,
a bad
he
guy.
steals
deserves
random ones
everything
when
he
he's
gets.
running
He deserves
from
to be
the
in jail for 5 minutes.
mall. 5 years. 5 years.
Right?
At least 5 years.
It's so bad.
But does it look like 5 years?
No,
Well,
it
it's
looks
like
like
2.5
he's
if
in like the
this is
world's
something.
cleanest, nicest prison, and then he just is out. And it's
He doesn't
it's
get
happy
out,
ending.
guys. That's a daydream. He's looking at the Route 66 thing. Why are his jeans rolled like he's a fucking greaser? It's because he's
Yeah.
not really leaving. He's
I
daydreaming about Route
apologize.
66.
But see,
You're
that's
right.
the thing is when it turns to color, like that's supposed to represent it going from not real to real.
Nah, I don't believe it.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
I mean,
it
if
was
anything,
Yeah,
that
that's
what Edgar Wright's
I'll
saying.
give who?
Edgar Wright.
See, I thought that was
He always
literally
saying
like
that
a
by the
time jump
color?
where he's like imagining that, and then his dream comes to fruition, and he gets out. But I if you guys read it that way, that makes a lot more sense.
My read on it is no, he does not get out. At best, if you want to, I think that gives you the breadcrumb that one day he will get out and get with her, and that's what the color means. But I definitely don't think that's what's actually happening in that scene. Find me what Edgar Wright said, Tim. Go put it into the Google machine.
He's looking. This is the Tim. That's the Tim I'm looking. Look right.
Tim's
No,
like,
it's
I'm
not.
gonna nail Greg Miller's fat
It's
ass
not
to the
nail.
wall
No,
right
I mean,
here.
either way, it's whatever.
I've had enough of his shit for 6 years, and it's time to take him down in
Let me
Edgar Wright
nail this
interview.
fat ass. Why'd you say fat ass?
I don't like
I have a fucking problem, Andy. All right, I don't know how to say Boris in a pinch, and I'm self-deprecating. That's what happens here on an interview. And if you don't like it, there's better movie podcasts to go listen to.
my
here's the thing,
my name is
which
Horace Gump.
I'm Horace the Tortoise.
Edgar Wright says, I think the end scene's up for interpretation, which is like, okay, immediately, let's throw this out the window. I started to learn quickly through the test screening process that I should let people interpret how they want. I think it's an important thing with movies where you don't have to state your actual intention because nobody's response to it is wrong. I think that's a good thing to do. You don't want to have anybody say, no, you're wrong. You read that wrong. It's better if you have two different interpretations and it just keeps going on.
But
Not at all.
for people who might be questioning this, nail Greg's fat ass with this. Like, wow,
To the
Edgar really
wall.
ahead of it.
To the wall. Okay, so yeah, that happens, and then they all get their money. Except Baby. Then they all go down the elevator and they all say their goodbyes, one floor by floor. And John Bernthal's an asshole and he leaves. And then Darling and Buddy, they go to get off, and that's when Buddy's like, "You're good job, baby. But I'm Mizzou's John Ham. And next time Talk calls, do me a favor and don't answer. Hey, bada bing." And the door is closed and they walk away. And then Kevin Spacey and Baby, they go down one more floor, and then they walk over to the car. And he's like, "All right, I don't like taking candy from Baby, but I have to. I'm Kevin Spacey."
What a weird thing to say.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
That
oh,
one
man,
didn't.
all
That
right.
one didn't age very well.
No,
And he puts it into the trunk, right? And then he still gives Baby a very tiny cut of it. And he's like, "You're almost paid up. One more job and you'll be scot free. You'll be out of here." So we're establishing that Baby is
He
indebted
never says
to
that though. He says
the doc.
we'll be squared up or whatever. Kinda
We'll be
hinted
Yeah, you're
at
right.
it.
He's like,
He's
we'll be
like,
done. He's like, we'll be
done.
square.
We'll be
Yeah,
square.
we'll be square.
We'll
Yeah,
be
good call,
square.
Kev. Good call, Kev.
Yep.
And so then it's time for baby to hit the road. And so he leaves and he goes home and we meet his foster dad, who we don't meet and know it's his foster dad for a while, but his foster dad's there and he's deaf and he's got the TV on, he's watching it, and then he wants some food. So baby, makes him a peanut butter sandwich, but spread to the edges. And he hides the money and the guy's like, you shouldn't be doing that. And he's like, no, one more job and I'm done. Classic bullshit. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever done. You know what I mean? And he's like, all right, cool. And they're fine. He eats this fucking sandwich. I think maybe puts him to bed here. It doesn't matter. He's just fucking sandwich, dad. Yeah, you know what I mean?
He's a sweetheart. I love
him. And I love their relationship.
Great.
I love that they
Fantastic.
dance. And when they're dancing. and
Not
singing.
not enough of it. I could
agree.
have done with a lot more because again we get to the end of the movie and baby's like, let's just get out of here, Deborah. And I'm like, what about your fucking dad? Dude? Like,
He took him
I
to the
feel
old
bad
folks'
for him.
home with like all the money that he had collected.
No, he
Which
did
an
that as a
orderly
last
immediately
resort.
took.
He did that as a last fucking resort. Like
But like he
I
had that
wouldn't have had to
plan.
worry about him before.
I don't think that was the plan initially. I think
You think it's because he found him there, laying there after he'd been there for several hours, maybe the whole
Yeah.
day?
Cold, probably.
Yeah.
Did anyone else get anxiety when he had the stack of bills in his breast
Yeah.
pocket? I was like, can you hide that? Can you hide that a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one orderly comes out there and is like, takes all the money, plays the fucking tape, throws the tape
Looks
away.
at Frank. Yeah.
Done.
Wheels him out and is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy's gone.
I'll put you in here. I'll call the cops.
like he's gonna wheel him down a hill.
Yeah, he just kills him.
From here. Oh, this is when I missed this. When Bernthal was giving baby shit. He's like, he says the R word. Is he R word? Is he slow? I mean, slow. No, but is he slow? And so then he puts the dad to bed, and then he goes and he makes his little mixtapes like Andy would. And he's got like, I guess he's got like, a really old computer with one of those punch cards. I don't know what he does with this card.
No,
lot
I
of
think
analog
what that
equipment
was-
here.
I think what that was a magnetic strip on a card, and he puts it on there so it has the like audio, and then he can move it back and forth, and it's like, whoa, it's so cool.
It looks like a device that you would have had access to when you were in elementary at your library, and like they let you for some reason listen to, things on like audio versions of things, but that's all they had access to.
You can only
Wait, but
hit
it's
it,
like, but it's
here,
totally
right?
lame. All it is like one sound effect. Like this
Yeah.
is what a monkey sounds like, and you put it there, it
Yeah.
goes. Ah. You're like, that's not right. That's not right.
From there, he stays up all night making this tape, and he's real happy with himself. And he was just wasting so much tape because he's just putting one song in these tapes, Andy. Like, imagine if Ambelina, you were like putting out one song, and like you had a 10-song
lot of
album,
CD
but
to
you put them all,
Rs.
you put one on every, and then what? You got like 90 minutes of dead space on this thing.
Yeah.
No,
Andy,
they make the
imagine-
small ones. They're the
I
really
would wait
small
like
ones,
15
right?
minutes and then start putting ghost stories in there.
Yeah,
You know what I
yes, you
mean?
would.
We know you would.
all the remixes that we hear from this are done by Danger Mouse, who's a super dope DJ.
Danger Mouse.
That's cool.
What's up, Danger?
You know Gnarls Barkley?
Yes.
Danger Mouse is part of Gnarls Barkley.
That's cool.
It is. It's very cool.
Okay. Hold on, I'm looking back.
Andy, when you were in Ambelina, what would you do if you looked out and you saw me and Greg out there because we time traveled just to fuck with
We've already talked about this. We're time traveling.
did we talk about this already?
Well, I mean, I didn't know where you're going. We've mentioned this before.
I know,
That, yeah,
just-
we want
yeah,
to time
just-
travel back.
It's a callback. It's a callback.
It's a
to,
callback pretending
you have
to not be a
watch,
callback.
You have
When,
to watch
uh,
every single show we do. Every single show if you want to be on the jokes.
When he pulls out the recorder and like we hear the little clip, like, did you guys freak out? Because like at that moment I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, you shouldn't have that on
You
there."
fucking narc.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, terrible idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it comes back to bite him in the ass because like,
Yeah.
they're like, what are you doing? Why are you recording this? I like to make mixtapes of it. I was
That's
just
such
like,
a
you're
stupid thing. That's got to be
fucking
true. I like that. I like
dead.
that. That was their reaction to it.
I'm
That's like such a
murdering
dumb
you.
fucking thing.
I
It's
do
gotta
think
be.
it's really great though to not only have that be a plot beat and have that that there's consequences for what he's doing, but it's also just the characterization of somebody who loves music that like needs to be surrounded by music at all times. I think it's just great for the character.
Yeah, I do appreciate that, right? Of like how into music he is, and then I super appreciate it. Then that's how like John Hamm hurts him when he's like, "You took away something I love, so I'm gonna take away something you love." And you
Yeah.
think my initial thought on viewing would be Deborah, but instead the goosh goosh right next to his ears. I'm sorry, John Hamm, something like goosh goosh right next to his ears like that.
I'm sorry, who?
Mizzou's John Hamm, you might have heard.
Thank
of
you.
him.
Thank
Kind of a big deal.
There we go.
If you want to go to Mizzou, mizzou.edu, go check it out. From there, he goes to get a cup of Joe over at the diner. This is a diner, it turns out, his mom used to work at. I forget if it's in this scene or another scene where that's revealed by waitress 2, Deborah. But Deborah walks in, she's singing Baby song, B-A-B-Y, song I don't know as well. I mean, it's played on this thing later on, but whatever. And Baby gets out his recorder really quick and records it perfectly, even though he's really far away and it would not
Best
sound that
fucking
good. But he gets
recorder
it.
I've ever seen. Like,
Right.
I shot
Great
that.
Eat your heart out,
direction
talk boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. You know, most of the time I annoy Tim with my antics, but if I get a good chuckle out of him, I'm happy with
I
myself.
love it. That was good.
And so yeah, then she comes out like immediately too. Like it's very much like almost like a Scott Pilgrim, like you know what I mean. She's right back out there. And what do you want to eat? And he's looking at the kids menu and he's all flustered because let me tell you, all the blood right to his boner. He's just boning up right there, and he cannot focus on. Should I get a cheeseburger or pancakes? What time is it?
How does math work? I have such a boner.
I was
You know
not
that happened.
expecting to hear all the blood to his boner. In his life.
It happens, man.
If I would have had money on that, I would have selected the under.
Someone right now send Raj this time code, and then he can do like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing.
What's
Where,
Greg about to
free
say?
strings, ding, 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 ding. There's 4 options on the screen.
It's all the blood to his boner. Go blood rush. What was the thing you tweeted out? And then
Goo
goo goo blood, and then our belly button's disgusting. Crazy. It's Monday, Greg. It's Monday.
Dude,
This is
Monday.
Friday energy.
But I love it because
Oh,
I just
man.
get to coast right off that PS I love you energy. I had to be serious. I had to keep it together. And here I can just talk about farts and toes all I want. Nobody can stop
Farts
me
and
on any review.
toes.
Yeah,
What a
that's
great
right.
combination. Before we keep talking about that, let me tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. That's right. You've heard us talk about them for years now, and for good reason. Of course, right now, I'm wearing MeUndies essentially from head to toe. The only thing on me right now that's not MeUndies is this jacket, because guess what? This shirt, my undies, my lounge pants, and my socks are all MeUndies. They have the softest micro-modal fabric, and it is so soft. Kevin, are you wearing any right now?
Oh, you know it. All my socks are MeUndies. My underwear's MeUndies. I'm all MeUndies where it counts.
You're a man of taste, Kevin. I appreciate that. MeUndies are made with sustainable, breathable, softer than soft fabric and available in a range of sizes from extra small to 4XL. Whole bunch of fun prints always. There was some Star Wars ones recently that are really cool. Right now, they got some fun pizza on a neon blue, which is always nice. You can get 15% off your first order and free shipping by going to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Go check it out. And also, shout out to Keeps. Here's the thing. 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're 35. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness, but you can do something about it, just like Andy here at Kind of Funny. Keeps offers a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. It's a convenient virtual doctor consultations and medications delivered straight to your door every 3 months. You don't have to leave your house. It's great. It's low cost. Treatment started just $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions in discreet packaging with proven results. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, which is fantastic. Prevention's key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. Get on it now so it can start helping you later. If you're ready to take action to prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/morning to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com/morning to get your first month free. Keeps.com/morning. Yeah.
I'm sure they're thrilled. Farts and toes. Let's talk about our sponsor, Brooklyn. You ever fart in a bed where you keep your toes?
I'm sorry. Did Greg say? Did Greg say all the blood rushed to his boner? Is that what we heard before him? Okay, we're gonna need to reach out to Tim Gettys and ask him if that's if they're gonna keep doing that.
Here we go.
Anyway, she comes back. She wants to get him some food. And she's like, all right, cool. What do you want to eat? Some breakfast menu or kids menu. And he's like, this. And then she notices the tape recorder. she notices the tape recorder and she picks it up and she starts recording, which is, I mean, like, Don't get me wrong. Again, I think there is chemistry here. I think they're a very cute couple. I think it's tense. You know what
I'm
I
a
mean?
detective. You're recording over the memoirs of this man that
I'm here to transcribe this interview, and you just pick it up and like, I'm on the radio. Like, stop it, Jonathan, stop it. Because her name's anyways. And she eventually says her name, Deborah. I think she sits down, and this is where they talk, and they exchange names, and all the songs are about her sister. I might be getting ahead of myself, but I'm just shoving it in here. But they have a nice little conversation about songs, and all the songs are baby songs. She doesn't have that many songs. Here's this weird Beck song only Lucy James knows. Here's all this other crap. Great, cool. They establish it. Go ahead.
Lucy knew the song?
Oh, I assume so. She's a huge Beck fan.
Oh, okay. But like, are these all British songs? Is that why we don't know them?
No,
a lot of them are. A lot of that's American.
Yeah, but like the
Motown,
British
right?
people like different songs. You know what I mean? Like things.
You
when they go over the water.
There's a British electronic band called Mint Royale that is really dope, and Edgar Wright directed a music video for them called Blue Song, and it's essentially this movie just in a music video. So this is back in 2002, and it's the idea of this video stars Noel Fielding as a music-loving getaway driver for a group of bank robbers, one of whom is Wright's regular, Nick Frost. A clip from the video is featured in the film when channels are being flipped through on the television in Baby's apartment. And I watched the video earlier, and I'm like, whoa, this is Baby Driver as fuck. It's pretty cool.
He goes home immediately. What's his dad's name? Joe? Right?
Henry?
Joe sounds right.
Joseph is
Joseph,
what. Well,
yeah,
that's what CJ Jones is listed as here. Joseph, so we'll say Joseph. And he immediately notices that Baby's like all goo gaga. He's got them hard eyes, and he's dancing around, hugging a pole and shit. And he's like, "Oh, it's a girl," and like he does the girl sign or whatever.
Who's the girl?
Yeah. And he's like, oh, and they're all playing, and he's having a great time. He dances with Joseph for a while, and then the phone rings. The phone rang at the diner too. The phone rings here though. Baby picks it up. It's Doc, and he's got a job. Are you down? I'm down. He's been calling. I've called you a few times, baby. Oh, have you? I missed it. Yeah, I thought you would, baby. And he's like, baby. He says, baby, like baby. And so then he goes over there to the place. And here's where we get the new crew, because he recycles his crew every time, so it's never the same people. It's Jamie Foxx, Bats, and then it's Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's right, or Back to the Future fame, depending on where you're from. And then
Wild Thornberries.
Or Wild Thornberries, if that's your jam.
Wow.
Then who's the other guy? What's the other guy?
He's the baby in the Wild Thornberries. Remember?
Donnie.
JD.
Yeah.
JD is the other guy.
I love the moment where
yeah.
he's like, why does your tattoo say hat? And he goes, it used to say hate, but it very much
Hard to get a job.
Increases the employment rate.
Yeah, so he's like, who doesn't like hats?
Yeah.
That's a great
So
line, right?
fucking good.
And
Some
so-
casting stuff for you here. Question: who was originally going to be Deborah? Anyone know? Take a guess.
Who was originally gonna be Deborah?
I can. Let me guess. Emma Stone.
Exactly.
Dame
Nailed it.
Judy.
Damn, I was gonna say Emma Stone.
Wait.
Andy
shut
nailed
up.
it. Andy nailed it. She ended
Oh
up
my
not
God.
doing it. She had to drop out to do La La Land.
Holy shit.
Oh, so much.
Yeah.
Dude, that
So
was
Andy,
really
Such a
cool.
great choice
Let's see if
for
you
her.
can do a 2 for
Yeah.
2.
Oh,
Who
free.
was originally in talks to do Doc?
Doc, the Kevin Spacey.
James Spader.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
Oh my God, you guys are getting real close. Michael
James
Douglas.
Keaton. Wow, that would have been good. He would have been good.
Yeah, no, I feel like he would have been too old for it, but that would have made the shitty scenes, I think, a little bit better. That's interesting.
And yeah,
James
so
Spader
he
would've been good.
Michael Douglas was considered for the role. Edgar Wright was the one responsible for getting him cast as Hank Pym before
nice.
Wright left Ant-Man.
It's dope.
Anyways,
Edgar Wright hooking it up. On the
we
way
meet the
out.
whole new team there. We get the rundown of the job now. Well, Bats just takes over the John Bernthal role of not liking Baby, sight unseen. He doesn't like these wearing sunglasses, doesn't like these listening to music. And Bats is crazy. He goes over to complain to Doc. Doc draws a map the entire time, and then he shuts him up, and he's like, I just drew a map. That's really fucking impressive. And you're like, oh, that's a weird fucking line and scene to put in, whatever. Then we get the rundown of the job. But we get it from Baby's perspective, which again is dope, where Baby's sitting there listening to his music with his shades on, and he's doing the piano on the thing. And then we finally tune in at the very end, and he's like, Doc's like, any questions? And Jimmy Fox's like, yeah, fucking Baby wasn't even listening. Why the fuck should I trust him? And Doc's like, Baby, you want to take care of it? And Baby's just like, I read lips, motherfucker, and says everything exactly what Doc said. And he's like, ah. And Bass is like, oh my God, how is this happening?
I love them cutting to that 2-shot of Jamie Foxx and Kevin Spacey, and Kevin Spacey being like, "Fucking told you, Doc."
Yeah, totally right.
This kid's good.
But it doesn't make a lot of sense because like he's like playing the piano, he's doing all these things. He's not looking at him the whole time.
You ain't reading no lips.
Yeah.
Is
fake
not
that.
That
this also
distracted by his hands.
Is this also not the sequence? I don't know if it's later or not, where Doc does tell Bats the whole history of how he found Baby and why he's so good. And
Yeah, it was at the start of this. Because like he's like, why is this kid here? And he's like, do you remember this one job?
Yeah.
He's like, well,
he's
it
like,
was
shit,
this
I was
guy.
like
And
10
he's
years
like,
ago. He's like, well, yeah, he's been boosting cars since
Why do
he
they
was
call him
tall
Baby?
enough to look over a steering wheel or whatever.
Yeah.
All that sequence is cool. I like having that backstory and kind of just adding to the legend of
But
why
also-
he's so damn good at his job.
Can you imagine like a 12-year-old baby doing this? Because he's been
Yeah, it's
doing
cool.
jobs with him for 10 years. Like it's just one of those things.
It's
that, like,
so mythological. It's
Yeah. Bats
it's really cool.
freaking out at the fact that he's like what, 20-ish, right?
Yeah,
Baby's
it reminds me of how some of the characters in Kill Bill like have been doing crazy assassination type stuff since they were like little kids or whatever. It kind of gives me that sort of vibe. And then we get that weird kind of I was mesmerized by the balls on this kid. I was like, oh, that line didn't age greatly.
So the plan's
Gross.
been set up. They're gonna do this job, take down an armored car. JD's supposed to go buy Michael Myers mask.
Oh God, this is my favorite joke in this.
Dude, it
whole
cracked
show.
me. I cracked up
It's
in
so
theater, and then
good.
so like we cut to them in the car with Baby. They roll up on it. The one guy's walking to his truck and gives them kind of a look of like, why are these four guys dressed like garbage men in an Escalator or whatever? And he's like, all right, masks, and they pull out all the Austin Powers masks, and it's just that I fucking immediately started laughing, and then it just gets better even too of just like. What the fuck? You're supposed to get Mike Myers mask. This is Mike Myers. No, the Halloween guy. This is a Halloween
Powers.
mask.
It's so
Oh, like
fucking good.
Jason.
And it was
So
not in the script. The script was supposed to be Michael Myers masks, and they couldn't get the licensing for it. So then, literally, Edgar Wright called up Mike Myers. It was just like, "Hey, would you be down to let us use your likeness for this?" And he's like, "Yeah." And like, he's like,
Yeah,
"I think this is
baby.
hilarious. Let's do it."
And then
That's so
then
funny.
they add like two other lines that are Austin Powers related.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's so great.
Hey man, you got to get a couple more views to Austin Powers. That's money in Mike Myers' pocket right there.
He needs it, you know? As Nick pointed out earlier, it's all from Baby's perspective, right? So they get out, they run over to the dudes at the armored car, and then Baby drives up a little bit, blocking the actual action so we don't see what's happening. Then Baby reverses it. They all climb in. Baby looks over, and one of the security guards is down bleeding, showing Baby like, oh man, this is a consequence that I usually don't have to see or whatever. And Jamie Foxx's like, fucking go. So he goes to go, but then,
Soldier
G.I.
Boy.
Joe, Soldier Boy, that's what I made a name for him. Rolls up in his truck. He takes a handgun out, shoots at them. They take off. Chase
Motherfucker's
ensues,
got
he
like an
hits 'em.
MP5 in his
Yeah,
car.
flips out the
That's
fucking
fucking
thing.
wild.
The center console.
He's got like a fully decked out MP5 from Warzone, just like one-handing it. Like, damn, this guy's wild, man.
Totally right. Like the chase goes on for a while. There's more gunshots. There's more stuff. Baby eventually pulls a crazy move, taking the car over a median, down a hill or whatever. Truck guy tries to do the same thing, but he rolls the truck and loses it because he knows his guns, but not his driving.
Important thing. Fuck, what's his name? Hold on.
JD?
No, well, JD drops his shotgun, but before that,
Yeah, I was about to get that. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx pulled Bats. That's it. Bats goes to shoot him, and Baby moves his car and like saves his life
Prevents the murder.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still gets everybody away. Yeah. JD leaves his shotgun when they take down the car. They almost take a car with a lady and a baby in it, or a lady's car with her baby in it, but they put the baby out. Eventually they get away. Eventually they get back to the HQ. Down there they come in separate cars, and yeah, that's when Bats points out that JD's a stupid fuck up, and also is like, you didn't make me miss that shot on purpose, did you? And he's like, you're a great driver, but you're a terrible liar. They go upstairs. Actually, the bad guys go upstairs. They tell Baby, go get coffee. He goes and gets the coffee. This is what I was talking about earlier, where like he's not in sync with the music. He bumps into a guy. He's not happy at all because of how shitty this job went. But he gets the coffee. He brings it back. JD's no longer there. Bats makes some comment. JD's no longer with the operation kind of thing. They do the thing. They get the money. Hooray, huzzah. They go downstairs. They walk over to Kevin Spacey's car, Baby and him. He gives Baby his money. He's like, that's it. I'm done. You're square. Then Baby looks over and sees the blood hanging out of a trunk, and Kevin Spacey, he walks over there, opens it up. JD's in there dead of a gunshot wound, slams the thing done. He's like, before you're, free as a bird or whatever, though, you got to dump this one car. We then get a shot of the car being put into a car compressor at a junkyard. Baby's there listening to what? Easy like Sunday Morning. Yeah.
Which was Ansel's song. Like Edgar Wright was like, hey, you get to choose whatever song it is. You just need to be able to lip sync like the entire thing. You just like, what's the song you know every single word to? And he was like, Easy.
That's cool.
Great.
It'll also be the song that his mom sings on that tape later on. The thing gets crushed, the body's inside it, and he's done. So he turns around. Easy's playing. It's just like, all the way the world's leaving him. Yes, Nick.
I tell you what, Greg. This happens to me. I go directly home. You open those floorboards. You get that arguably what you got to imagine $50,000 out of the freaking floorboards. You take
more
Joe.
than that.
I thought every one of those stacks is like 10K.
10 grand, yeah.
Just get the hell out of town.
Yeah,
Don't even.
100%.
Why are you screwing around? Get out of this apartment.
A kid. He's a dumb
but
kid.
Go buy a car. Put your dad in the car. Drive away. Kevin Spacey's not a god. He's not going to find you on the West Coast. You live in Los Angeles. You take up a job as a painter. Hey, can I paint your fence for you? They say, sure. How are you living in this amazing penthouse? Don't worry about it. Bye. You start killing people.
It's weird you say that because Edgar Wright finished the script on the next movie, Baby Painter, that supposedly is coming out in 2022. But we'll have to wait for that.
Wow. He's been painting fences since he was 12. I caught him painting the fences. The balls on this kid. You can see him from a mile away.
Oh, my God. All right. So, yeah. He walks away. He takes off the gloves, throws those away. He'd been given gloves by Kevin Spacey after the first job. Then he throws his cell phone, burner phone away. And this is like, all the shackles are falling off him. He's completely free. He goes pretty much immediately to the diner where Deborah's there, and he's like, basically like, I don't have a job anymore, and it's great. She's like, pretty happy about that. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? I'll stick around. I have to go do laundry. She's like, I want to go with you. They keep flirting. They go do the laundry. It's very colorful, as Kevin pointed out. I'm sure she's just putting underwear in there, just disgusting. She's trying to hide all the skid marks and stuff, but she's just shoving him in quietly. You know what I mean? What?
Why?
Can I not have some fun in the scene? Can I not have some fun?
No, Greg,
I like
you
to think
can't.
about
So
it.
it's just you got
It's
weird,
their first
man.
date, and he's all like looking at her underwear, but she's got a dirty underwear. You know how it is. It's his tale as old as time. Maybe there's a tarantula in there.
Greg is like, Edgar Wright said I could have up to my own interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. I'm interpreting what's going on in that
Interpretating.
dirty ass laundry thing. You know what I mean?
Interpretating.
And this is before that we also get this is where the other coworker, we mentioned it earlier, but the other coworker mentioned his mom used to work here, I think.
Right.
I think, yeah. So they hit it off, and they're great. And this is when let me take you to dinner, and he's gonna celebrate with her. He's gonna take her to that place that Buddy and Darla were gonna go to, right? That's the finest whining and dining of all the fine and wine and dining. And they're like, yeah, I love whining and dining. And so he comes home. Joseph notices he's like super happy, obviously. Again, more dancing, more about the kid or whatever, or the girl. And now he's free, he's clear, it's all over. Congratulations, everybody. On the TV is a news report from the soldier boy and all that stuff of like what he tried to do and try to stop him, and it didn't work or whatever. Yeah, he's like, what do you want to do for dinner? You want some dinner? He shows him a pizza thing. Are we celebrating? You getting a normal job? What if you use your driving powers for good? And he's going to go be a delivery driver for pizza. It's a cute little thing, right? Of him like going to Goodfellas, yeah? And, driving really quickly, getting to the frat house super quick. Yay. Then he's counting out his money. How does it feel to have money? Blood, your blood, you don't have to wash your hands after twice, right? He says to wash your hands twice. Good line from Joseph. And then it's time for the date. They go to the finey, winey, diney place. They have a lovely. It makes me miss restaurants and being in real places and going.
I'm right there with you, man.
Seeing
nice
that
little
all is
candle.
real nice.
Like that restaurant looks dope.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
sequence is great. I love the music that's playing, the way it's shot, all the revolving shots. Like these people are in love, and you can feel it. It's again, Kevin, insatiable.
God, it's insane.
And I looked up the spelling, by the way. INSA.
No, don't tell me. I like it being a mystery.
I'll leave the last letter as a mystery.
Me?
So everything's going fine at dinner, and they come by to bring the check, and Baby's just gonna pay with all the cash he has in his pocket. But guess what? It's already been taken care of by that guy. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be Buddy. Even last night, I not having remembered plot for plot moments, I was gonna be Buddy. Wasn't Buddy? It's Kevin Spacey. He's over there. It's like, oh no.
Who's he hanging out with? Andy.
Big Boy and Killer Mike.
A big
Hell
boy.
yeah, dude. Whose music is featured in the movie, which is really dope. Run the jewels, baby. Let's go.
Based in Atlanta, you got to assume they were just like, let's hook up some local Atlanta people. Cool as shit.
They go outside. Doc's very clear about it, right? Of like, oh yeah, just because we're square doesn't mean we're done. You know, I've done all these different things. I change my crew every time. I assume you're my good luck charm. Of course, you're a smart guy. I don't have to tell you what'll happen if you say no to me, right? Like break your legs, go hurt Joe. You got a nice diner girlfriend here that I know everything about. You know, like don't fuck me on this. And so baby's like, yeah, I'm in. And so great, I'll pick you up outside your house tomorrow. Baby takes her home. She invites him in for coffee. She's bad at coffee though. And he's like, not right now, like, you know, something's come up kind of thing, but I do really like you and I do really want to hang out with you kind of thing or whatever. It's sweet. Then it's the next morning and there's a honk outside and it's Kevin Spacey and he's just like, hey, let's just get in the same car right here. I'm very protective of everything else, but right here, I'll just be outside your apartment waving at you saying, hey, everybody, I'm Doc and I hang out with this kid for some reason.
When does Kevin Spacey walk into his actual place and is like, this place is a shithole, you're going to upgrade soon? When is that moment?
It's after this when he drops him back off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because he picks him up. There's a kid in the back, Spencer, I think is his name.
Oh, right.
His
They
nephew.
they scout out
Yeah.
the bank, yeah.
And he's playing, of course,
Vita.
PlayStation,
Vita.
motherfucking Vita. Sony, be moved. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
He takes him to the post office. There's gold in them hills. I need you to go inside. I can't go inside. You can go inside. You can take the kid. It'll be good cover. Figure out how many guards are there, how many employees are there, how many registers are open, how many cameras are there, all this different shit like that, you know, so we can make a heist on the tomorrow. Baby walks in there with the kid. He starts looking around. He's very slow. He kind of gets overwhelmed. The kid playing his Vita like just a champ. Tugs on his arm and is like, what's up? And he's like, he rattles it all off. He's done all the work for him. They go up to buy stamps. There's
Love
a very
this
nice
kid.
woman there. Yeah, great kid. Very nice woman there who, you know, is this your boy? And baby says yes, and then answers a bunch of dumb questions, but very funnily. And then she gives him a mint. You got a mint with my name on it? And then they go
She's like,
outside.
oh,
They
this kid
get
sucks, huh?
this kid's a little shit. He's always got to have something to say, huh? They go out there, they get in the car, they report everything back to Kevin Spacey. Spencer or whatever has a great line of like how she's not tough or whatever, and if you did one thing, she'd crumple or whatever he says. I
He's
forget.
got like the four fingers up when Kevin Spacey asks him how many.
Yeah, he's like,
whatever.
yeah. Great stuff. This is where he drops baby back off at the place, and he's like, yeah, this place is a shithole. You know, Joe's here, elevator, yada yada yada. You know, you're moving up in the world, baby.
Yeah, I do like that one line where he does say, you know, this stairs must be a bitch for Joe, right? And his wheelchair. And you immediately think, oh, you're a fucking creep. But then it immediately turns it around where he's like, I got to do research with everybody that I work with. I have to know everything about whoever I work with. And it's like, oh, you know, that's a good fucking point. You like it isn't that you always had the idea of threatening him in mind. It's more
Sure.
of like, I got to make sure you're clean and there are no loose ends, you know. And it kind of makes more sense with him being sort of this ultimate crime wizard, you know.
Wow, that's a cool thing to say.
Ultimate crime
wizard.
Coming
Donk.
to fucking Sega Saturn.
So yeah, now we're getting ready for the job, and we go from something happens here at this apartment. Maybe there's a conversation with Joe. I think maybe he calls the diner the first time, second time, whatever. He calls Deborah and he's like, just be ready at some point. Like, well, let's run away together kind of shit.
Yeah.
He maybe cancels their date or some shit. It doesn't matter. Then he goes to the HQ where everybody's there and they're getting acquainted, and it's Buddy and it's Darla and it's Bats and it's Baby, and of course Bats is really mean as always. John Hamm likes Baby a lot and goes over there and listens to some music with him. It's Queen, that back when John Hamm was a wheelman. His song to get fucking wild with was Queen, whatever the hell, Brighton Town or some shit like that. What is it? Kevin, you're a big Queen guy. What song is it?
Brighton Rock.
Brighton Rock. Thanks, Kevin.
Brighton Rock.
Thank you very much.
Bright-
You didn't know that.
Bright
You're,
Rock-
you're a
Bright-
fake Queen fan.
Right, well.
And so they listen to it for a
Fraggle
little bit,
Rock?
but then Bat ruins the moment, and he's like, everybody's grumpy. And it's like, all right, cool. You got to go buy some guns for us. We got to go get the guns for this stuff. All right, cool. So they all go off together to get guns. This is on the way to the guns. Yeah, on the way to the guns, they stop because he tells Baby to stop so Bats can take a leak. Does anybody want any gum? Bats goes and gets the gum, and then while he's out, that's what you were talking about earlier, Darla, because Bats had been like, oh, like looking in the mirror at Darla, and like looking at her, like just being perverted. She does the great line of like, you remember that guy you stabbed? Which one? Blah, blah, blah. The one who looked at me funny. Like Bats just looked at me funny.
So good.
You're gonna kill
love
Bats,
it.
not
Stole
right
a
now.
bunch of gum, dude. What the fuck?
Not
John
right now,
Hamm-
but
well,
you know,
killed
what about
it.
Baby?
Yeah.
Baby's cool or whatever.
The-
And then yeah,
we shouldn't have this conversation now, and her being like, "Yeah, Baby will be fine," was such a like, "Oh man, they get it. Bats is a fucking
They trust.
problem." Yeah,
totally. Yeah, exactly. That's why it sucks that Bats has to be the problem. Bats comes out, he stole the gum, throws the gum. The cashier is nowhere to be seen, indicating that, of course, Bats beat him up or hurt him. Because Bats is crazy. They go to
crazy.
They go to the gun thing to meet the butcher. You're like, why do they call this guy the butcher? The butcher walks out, and I'm pretty sure he's God from Dogma, right? Is that right, Kevin? You can back me up on that, Kevin?
God from Dogma.
Remember Comatose God from Dogma?
No, I don't think so.
Remember the movie
Alanis Morissette?
Dogma? I hate
Yeah,
you.
Alanis Morissette.
We've clicked. It's Paul Williams is the actor. We're clicking on his thing here.
I don't
Is
think
he
so,
not
Frank.
from? Is he not from? Is he not? Oh gosh, from
This
Dogma,
guy-
dog care,
from
premium
Captain
dog
America?
boarding.
Is he not the guy from Captain America?
He is not the guy from Captain America for sure.
Damn,
A little
I
over
thought it
the
was
top,
him.
this whole scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Control F.
Yeah, here's the thing I didn't like about the scene. I wanted to know what guns they were, and he was putting them all in terms of parlances of butcher's cuts, and it made me hungry.
Paul Williams. Is it Paul Williams?
Not from Dogma.
Okay, great. So you were
Well,
wrong.
that wait.
you
Paul
idiot.
Williams is the actor, right?
Yeah,
From the movie we're talking about right now.
the butcher.
Yeah. No, I had that part down. Yeah. His IMDb does not list Dogma, so there we go.
He's
Oh,
a
I see.
singer.
Yeah. He's over the. He's weird, and he's describing
He
all
was
the
a
guns. as pieces of
butcher,
meat, like you just
Tim.
said. Yeah. Well, it's also weird because like I thought that was a stupid name for him, and then when Jamie Foxx notices it's Atlanta PD that's on the boxes, that's when I was like, oh, okay, like is he a butcher because this is all shit he stole from the cops, he stole from the pigs, like 'cause that would make more sense. But then it turns out no, that's because they are cops, and then the shootout ensues, and Jamie Foxx shoots a bunch of people, a whole bunch of people get
Foxx is just
shot.
a psychopath. Like I don't
Yeah.
like they weren't in danger, right?
He thought he was doing the right
At
thing.
any point
though.
they could be though. At
I
any
don't
point
think
they could
so. I
be,
think
Kevin.
Jamie Foxx went in there and decided he was gonna steal the guns instead of like buy them. That's why he was trying to give Baby a gun.
No, I mean, I think that was just like intimidation. Like walk in there, look like you know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
look like you know what you're doing. Yeah,
It wasn't until the PD thing that he saw. He was like, "Oh, I see what's going on here. We're being fucked over," and they were not.
So yeah, the shootout ensues. Darla gets shot. Everybody goes down. Baby almost gets shot, but he doesn't. They drive out. As they drive out, like a hand twitches in time to the music, of course, because that person's alive still. And so they're driving now, and they're arguing about everything that's happened. And you know they're pigs, and I had to do it, and yada yada yada. Finally, they're driving, and they see that Bat sees the diner, and he's like, "Pull over, I'm hungry." Baby's like, "No." Then he slams on the brakes, and then Bat's like, "You just tell me no." And he's like, "The food there sucks." He's like, "Well, now he's gots to go." And he's like, "Okay, cool." So they go there now. And they go inside, and Baby is like, you know, clearly like, you know, Deborah lights up to see him, but Baby stays completely dead, and like everything's wrong. So she immediately knows something's wrong. They all get seated. She comes over, asks them what they want. You know, Jamie Foxx orders 4 Cokes for everybody. There's this really tense, you know, awesome scene standoff here we already talked about, right, where Bats calls out Buddy on him being, you know, failed stockbroker, failed marriage, maybe a kid. This is what happens. This is where you are now. You're just looking for the rush kind of thing. You know, Bats is just, you know, lives it or whatever kind of shit. She comes back over about food, right? But she walks away, and then it's time to leave. So Bats gets up, and he pulls out the gun because he's gonna go over there and either kill her, or he asked, you know, Baby if he knew her or whatever, to kill her or whatever. And then Baby grabs the gun and stops him, and then we all realize how tense the situation is, and they leave. They go back to the thing. Bananas.
Before all that, before we're leaving that back,
Bananas.
before we're all leaving that, I
Bananas.
just want to point out to how much I love Jamie Foxx in that sequence when she's trying to tell Jamie Foxx how crazy John Hamm is, and they get to the end, and he's just, oh my god, that was some Oscar award. Like I just thought I loved his reaction to that, showing like, you think this fucking guy scares me? I'm not scared of anything. I'm Bats, dude. Like nothing scares me. It's such a
Yeah, but
cool
like
little
John
moment.
Hamm ended up being fucking wild.
see black.
Yeah.
Like Buddy did prove
so-
to be like unstoppable in like such a cool way.
100%. As they leave, Jamie Foxx like tip the nice girl. Baby leaves $20 for the 4 Cokes, and then also a note that says road trip 2:30 or 2 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
They go. Yeah. By the way, we already missed it. By the way, that everybody has to stay overnight. It's a big old lock-in, like we were talking about before. It's a sleepover. Everybody's got to stay there. So they go back to the thing. Bananas. Doc's like, what the fuck, man? They're supposed to say bananas. Nobody said bananas to me tonight. And Jamie Foxx like, they were cops. And he's like, I know they're fucking cops. They're my cops. They're dirty cops. No, they're not dirty cops. They shot first. No, they didn't. Buddy, did they shoot? Buddy's like, yeah, they shot first. And then, Doc's like, you know what? No, we're not going to do this. Call it off. And they're like, no, we're doing the job. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And finally, Baby gets to be the deciding vote. And he says, fucking do it. Let's drive. We're doing it in the fucking morning. Let's do it. And so then he stops off and puts on some music. We cut to it being 2 in the morning. Deborah is waiting at the diner.
Quick
Baby's going to
question.
leave to go get her. Yeah.
Why did Baby not say no at that point?
I thought my thought was that that would have been my thing too, of like, yeah, we shouldn't fucking do this.
Yeah, you gotta
But
know.
I thought it was a weird thing of he was worried about Bats getting mad about it. He was worried about the Doc seeing through it or something. I don't know. I don't have a great answer for you on that one.
Yeah, me either. Like, obviously, I think he says yes because he thinks it's a good chance to escape, but anything is a good chance to escape. Like, any time is a good chance for him to peace out and leave the city and leave the state or whatever. I don't really understand his reasoning there. Maybe I'm just missing something. But again, this is one of those things I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. There's some decisions that don't make sense, but I write it off because I enjoy the movie anyway.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's every movie. There's something, I don't know, that we don't fully understand for some reason.
Yeah.
So now it's 2 in the morning. Like I said, she's waiting at the diner. He goes downstairs quietly. You see Jamie Foxx open his eyes, and you're like, oh, this is going to be trouble. He gets behind the wheel, turns the corner right by the elevators, and boom, Buddy's there. Buddy walks over to the window like, what the fuck are you doing? And he has a shitty answer if he's going to go get coffee or whatever. Like, that's what he's up to or whatever. That's a stupid answer, of course.
I do like Buddy here feeling kind of betrayed.
Oh, totally.
Dude, I got to deal with Bats, and now I got to deal with you. Come on, man. Like, make this easy for me.
And I like that, too, that you kind of see the flip of, like, a more intimidating, scary Buddy. Because up until here, I've been like, Buddy's a good guy. Buddy's in Baby's corner kind of thing.
Yeah, and then the scene gets even better because Jamie Foxx walks into the car and it's like, where are we going? It's 2 a.m. What are we doing? I just fucking love his character. He's so good at playing this role, man.
Yeah.
And so he continues to nail it with the next scene where it's like he's like, what's this? He's like, yep, the one in your pocket. And then then we see Buddy flip even more, where Buddy just suddenly becomes like, yeah, answer the question.
What's going on, baby?
Yeah.
Answer the question, baby. Like, I just fucking love this whole sequence.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx pulls out the tape recorder, plays it. It plays a little bit that he had recorded of Doc from the previous scene. Shit, fuck. I'm gonna go. I make these tapes. That's a stupid fucking excuse. I'll go pick him up. We're coming with you. I live really far away. No, you don't. They knock him out. He comes to in the room again with everybody at the table. And at this point, he wakes up and then tries to get up and run. They shove him back down. They come in with the tapes, dump the tapes. He's like, "What about Joseph?" And like, "Oh man, don't worry about him. He's fine. He's out of your hair or whatever." All these tapes are spread out there. Yeah, and it's this like, what the fuck are they? They bring out the tape recorder. They play the one that is he's fast. Was he slow? Is he fast? Was he slow? And everybody's kind of like, oh, this really is what he does. Like, what a fucking stupid hobby, dumb kid. We shouldn't have a dumb kid do things, but we do. And from there, it's like, all right, fine, good enough. It's time for the job then, though. And so they roll up to. Oh, they have cool things that'll block out their faces too. Little light, like they look like when Tim got LASIK, but they have lights in them that'll kill cameras. Yeah. And so they roll up there, and Deborah and no, that's not right. Sorry, Darla and Buddy go in the front door. Baby and Bats roll around back. Baby puts it in park in front or behind a construction truck with some poles and shit hanging off of it. Bats goes in. Baby sits there. It starts to rain, and like even that is kind of mixing with the music too. That's not great or whatever. Oh, we skipped a good thing too. In one of the scenes, I don't think it's here. He had to restart the song at one part. I really liked that. I think it was when
it was around here. Yeah,
Soldier Boy. Was it here? Oh, I thought it was here. Okay. So while he's waiting there and the music's playing and it's very tense and we clearly know something's going to happen, the woman from yesterday who was super nice to him and Spencer, she walks up. Baby makes eye contact with her. She smiles because she recognizes him and he does a head shake like this. And she's like, whoa. And he's like, and so she instinctively knows something's wrong, turns around, but then does the dumb thing of getting a security guard.
It's fucking weird scene. Like this whole thing, I'm like, this didn't need to happen, and it's not clear at all like how this would work in any world, let alone the world that they're showing us here. But this woman just like walking up, it's like, how the fuck did she get that message from what he did?
What? I felt like that makes
He shook
sense.
his head no, yeah.
He shook his head no.
He
It
didn't
was
he
one of
didn't
those
light
things-
up or have any like
I
positive
mean,
reactions.
can you imagine going to a bank and seeing a teller and then the next day being parked and then them walking and you shaking your head at them and then them reacting the way she did?
100% a bank. The weird thing is it's a post office.
Post office.
Or whatever.
So it's
post
not
office,
like
yeah.
No, but I'm saying there is a
No,
difference.
this
there
plays
where
into what you're saying. I think
Yeah.
more than what you think.
But
of.
I think it was the fact that it was the back entrance. She was gonna go into her job, and they have that moment of like, she's expecting a friendly reaction, and instead he's like looks scared and is shaking his head no.
It does.
I feel like
It
that
works
makes
for
sense.
me. It does work for me because it is that thing of like, and I'm this is gonna sound so weird, I guess, but like there is an energy to all of us, and it is that thing of her. Oh, the guy with the cute kid from yesterday, and the like. My first reaction would be like something is wrong here, and she does have that moment of him shaking her head, and she like looks at the door, and like it's enough for her to put together like this isn't right, which to me would be to flee to a safe distance and try to figure out what the fuck's going on, not go two steps down and get some fat security guard.
Yeah, to me, like it wasn't like oh god, this guy's robbing the place. It's something's weird. Let me get the security guard, right? Which is why she didn't call the
That's true,
cops.
too.
She just
That's
brings
true.
over,
Fat security
you
guard
know,
couldn't get the job done.
Bob,
Is
the
that what you're
security
saying,
guard,
huh?
is like,
Yeah,
fat
Paul
shamer.
Blart, get out of here. You know what I mean?
No, I
but
mean,
yes,
like,
to me
I
that
feel like
didn't- that
that's
wasn't
normal.
weird.
Especially if the
I think she
security
was like,
guard
this guy's in
having
the
a
back loading
cigarette.
dock. He's not supposed to be here. He's got a little weird energy. Let me go get the security guard. It's his problem now. I'm gonna go to
Something's
work.
wrong here. This
That's-
guy's gonna steal mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna take ballots, toss them in a river.
Damn.
me?
Yeah,
Yes,
here you
Andy.
go.
We hear you.
Yeah, what that worked. It didn't work for me because all I saw that as is, you know, oh, he's not in his head. No, maybe he just doesn't recognize me. I don't know. Whatever. Let me just walk in. Like I don't. That's like a leap in logic that needs to happen because then at the very, very end of the movie, we need to understand that Baby's a good guy and she could testify in court. And it's like,
Yeah.
it
So
does.
weak.
It's really weak and it's not great, but whatever. It gets us to the next part of
Whatever.
Jamie Foxx just getting impaled.
Yeah, they run back out. They hop in the car. They shoot the security guard right away. It's starting to pour rain. He's screaming at Baby. He says move or whatever, or go or some shit. And then he just hits the gas and impales him on the rebar sticking out of the truck. Baby gets out. He's like disoriented and angry, and like the cops show up, and like, you know, Buddy's yelling at him, and it was very much like, all right, cool, Baby's gonna make the good choice here and like turn himself over and be like, I was forced into this. I guess I've done a lot of bad stuff too, but whatever. No, he runs, they run, everybody's running, they're shooting. Darla doesn't get shot here, right? No. It's in it's in the parking lot later on. They give off chase. They're all running, doing their things. This is where he runs through the park. They get separated. He runs into the park. He also got punched by Jamie Foxx and he lost one of his lenses. He runs in the park. He's running through stuff. He's hardcore parkouring left and right all over the place. Darla and Buddy, you know, get separated, go their own way. They got the police chasing them too. Baby does a bunch of different moves here.
Tries to fit in the mall, doesn't quite work out. They're still coming after him.
steals stuff from the mall, right? Yeah,
I think it's just the funniest like comedy of errors moment of him still crashing into them and them turning around and be like,
so
"God,
good."
He's like, "You're a fucking
Are you kidding
cursed,
me?
baby."
Yeah,
Like,
you're a jinx, baby.
Yeah, it's
that's
so
when.
good.
So we'll just jump over to there then. That's when they get out of the car to shoot it. Then Darla gets out with the. Darlene gets out with the two machine guns and shoots, but she gets shot and taken out.
Cool, those
John Hamm
guns.
sees that. We get that moment of him like turning into seeing red kind of thing, and he comes up fucking, you know, Max Payne and just starts blowing people away.
I love the escalation of spectacle with this scene. Like, I feel like the pacing of all the different action and music-based things throughout this movie all culminate in this giant set piece that feels like a 20-minute music video, and I love it.
So all that happens, and then Baby gets away again, kind of. Baby needs a battle. But eventually he gets to stealing that old woman's car. that will testify in court as well, right? She gets out, but he sits there going through the radio trying to find a song, which I really appreciated. Finds the song, then turns over and hands the bag, apologizes. He peels out. He goes to Joseph. He's like, time to go, Joe. Grabs all the money. Joe's trying not to do it. He's like, we don't have time for this. Brings Joe downstairs, carrying him with all the money. Then hears on the car that like you can't come in that car because they're looking for that car. Puts Joe and him in a different car, takes off. Then we're at the old folks' home where he's dropping him off and he's recording on his little tape recorder like, I am Joe. I like, peanut butter sandwiches with them spread to the edges and yada, yada, yada. Something again, the orderly's immediately going to throw away, take the money, then call the cops. Be like, there's a homeless guy on our front steps. Like, right? This guy's life is getting fucked over, Andy. I want you to know that, all right? Unless one of the good ones find him. But let me tell you, it's hard. Because a lot of the bad ones are like me, and that's what you would do, and you would just make it. I got all this money, and I got a cool tape recorder too. You know what I mean? It's like when you open a bank account. It's
You're
cool that you
taking
have a
notes
bank
of
account, but it's better
what
if you
you're
have a
gonna
toaster.
do with your money.
This
Right?
is all just
Exactly.
such incriminating evidence for in the future when Greg does do this, and they're like, "Is
I like
Greg
to
really a
think
bad
that's-
guy?" And they just play back this whole sequence. He's like, "Well, there's a lot of bad people out there, Andy, like me. I'm the one who would do this."
I like to think that
Like,
he's
yeah,
doing
he's
that
guilty.
to keep himself from making the bad decisions later. Of like, oh, they're gonna know it's me. They're gonna know it's me. I said that.
It's well documented on In Review for some reason, and not any other shows that I leave Andy weird Instagram voicemails where I just send him little audio things today. Today I was walking with Jen in the park and I saw a dog with a cone on its head and I started giggling to myself. And I wanted to call, if I would have been alone, I wasn't going to do it in front of my wife and embarrass her. But if I would have been alone, I would have left you a little message, Andy, of like, I'm like a dog with a cone on my head. Who's going to remove the cone, Andy? Is it you?
Who's gonna take it off, Andy? Can't be
Who's
the
gonna
dog.
take it off? Yeah.
Can't be the
How
dog, Andy.
comfortable does that make you? Like, would you like it to
Quite a
stop?
bit,
Quite a bit. Oh my goodness. A helicopter shows up. It's like, stay in your fucking houses. There's a guy who drives cars out here. And Joe's like, fuck you. You'll never catch him. And they're like, go in your house, money man. But he doesn't. Baby then drives to the diner. He goes into the diner. He's excited to see Deborah. He approaches Deborah, and she's like, "Your buddy's here." And it turns, and it's Buddy sitting there having a cup of coffee, and he's got a gun and a paper. And so that's when Baby and him have this confrontation. Deborah's there too, of course. I was in love. They're talking about her darling being dead on the TV. He's like, you love her? And he's like, yes, I do. And he's like, I'm going to kill her too. So he gets ready to do it, but then there's a whoop, whoop. And it's the cops pulling into the coffee shop. And one of them comes in. He's just like, can I get the bathroom key? And it's like, goddamn, you fat people always having to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? They get a chill in the grocery store. They got to go shit. Embarrassing.
Jesus, Greg, you're a monster.
Yeah.
What? Because I tell my own stories as a fat person? Anyways.
God.
He goes to the bathroom and then they hide the gun and then it keeps escalating a little bit, escalating. And it's getting bad. And then I forget what the final blow is, but John Hamm goes to make his move, but Baby shoots him in the chest, dropping him. The cop freaks out outside. Baby and Deborah run out the back where other people are fleeing to another cop car. Like, who shot a person? Who shot a person? That guy. They're already gone by the time they turn over there.
That
and
we've
do it.
seen a bunch of times that just seems
Yeah,
like an
he's a
asshole.
jerk too. He doesn't want
Yeah.
Debbie on the phone.
Look at them all running scared.
Then inside they go to check on John Hamm. Like, are you okay? Yeah, sir. He shoots him a bunch of times. Baby goes to a payphone. He calls Doc and he's like, bananas. And he's like, no. Bananas ain't working now, motherfucker. This line is dead. And he's like, bananas. And he hangs up. And then he goes to the HQ where Doc is still packing up his cars. Because Doc, very smart on some things, very dumb on other things, where he's just going to chill out forever here.
God, you gotta leave everything and go. The cops
Just
are gonna
go.
have to
Just
after
burn
you.
it. Just
The
burn
dirty
it. You know what I mean?
cops.
Exactly. Clean and dirty are after you know. So yeah, Doc and him have a conversation. Then Deborah walks in. And he's like, "Oh, you're in love with this girl? Yeah. Okay. Love is love or whatever. Come on." Baby was like, "I just want the one tape." He wants to get his mom's tape. Give me my mom's tape. I'll give you the money orders I have. I have one box of money orders, right? So it's like $250,000 or whatever. And he's like, all right, fine, come with me or whatever. And he's going to take him downstairs. He's going to get him set up. Everything's going to be okay. You know, you're a good kid. I try to be a good, whatever fucking is. They go out there though. And, he's like, all right, this is it. You know, get out of here. And then the cops show up. He's like, I got the cops show up and he's like, no, he came downstairs. He blew away the cops that didn't die yet. He came down the elevator and shot the cops that didn't die. Right. They go down.
Yeah.
And then the other cops show up and he's like, it's more cops. He's like, it's not the cops, it's John Hamm. He's like, hey, baby. And he's got the fucking thing like, oh my God, he's a supervillain.
So
he's
over the
bleeding.
top. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
He
just
Doc gets shot a bunch of times. Then John Hamm from Mizzou runs over Doc. Then he slams in. He slams into something. Then he backs over Doc's body, and the baby's in another car, and they're driving around in circles and shit.
I feel like the way when he hit him the first time, violent. That looked awful. But when he runs him over in reverse,
When he
that was
smushes him.
really smushy and gross.
Brutal.
It was
Yeah.
smushy. Yeah.
And so now they're having a whole driving around, not having a good time.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
They're driving in this parking garage and hiding from each other, and they're turning lights on, turning lights off. I don't know. There's a shot once
The
or
old
twice.
light trick. Yep. On and off.
The Batmobile stealth mode.
His hair's just flopping around everywhere. Beautiful.
Eventually, like what happens, I don't remember. They get out of the thing, and there's another thing, and then
They do
they're
the
standing
car
at the
trick.
side of the thing.
Like he gets to the top and like crashes the car kind of to make it look like, oh, something's wrong. But then he uses a car from the side to hit the car.
Yeah,
and push it
isn't
down
Deborah
right
standing
to the
there or
edge.
something?
Yeah, he used Deborah as bait.
Yeah.
It worked.
And then John
Really
Hamm.
tough thing to do though, right there. like,
Yeah.
like
They had-
you
they had,
gotta-
like,
But
30
here's the thing,
seconds to
he
plan it.
knows the timing of it. Like he's like, hey, you're gonna stand here, and then he's
Done this
gonna
a
try
million
to
times.
hit you with the car. But there's no way. Like he's got
I've had a lot of
you know,
ex-girlfriends.
he's got this Mustang. Well, no, he knows about cars, Andy. He
This
knows how fast the
Mustang.
cop car, is gonna go, and how fast his car is gonna go. And he's like, don't worry, I'm 5 feet off, so like I'm gonna hit him right before he hits you. You'll be fine. Like I'm an expert.
So all
in
this happens, and at some point we get the scene I talked about earlier that I liked, where you took something I love, so I'm gonna take something you love, and it's not the girl, it's his love of music, which is fucking crazy. Blows up both eardrums, right? And then Baby John's like, ew, my ears, I'm a baby goo goo. And then I forget, because I don't remember exactly what I'm gonna say is she picks up a muffler, throws it at John Hamm's
It was
head.
the tire
He goes,
iron.
my head.
It was
He goes,
tire
"Oh!" and he falls down. I remember the fall and I remember the love thing, but I'm just adding in the muffler. She's like Captain America with a muffler.
She hits him
I
with
thought
a
you
tire
said
iron,
buffalo.
and Baby shoots him, right?
Or does she throw a muffler from across the parking garage?
It's unclear.
Ding him in
It's
the-
up to your
He
interpretation.
does that bing noise. He's like, ow, my head. I'm from Mizzou. You know, like that.
DOU.
All right, so John Hamm's dead. We pick up with they're driving a Ford Bronco or whatever through the sunlight. It's daytime now, and she's driving, and Baby wakes up and it's all muffled or whatever, and because his ears are blown out now, and he looks at her and she's like, "Is this your mother? This is your mother singing? She has a beautiful voice or whatever." And Baby puts his hand to the speaker to hear it, and this is easy as well, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
It's very sweet and beautiful, but also heartbreaking because Baby can't hear music anymore. But then there's a hard stop because they go over a little bridge that you assume alligators on both sides, crocodiles, But at the one end of it, there's cops, and then the other end of it's cops. And so, like, I believe Deborah wants to rev the engine or put it out or whatever. She wants to do something to it.
She's
And
trying to
he
reverse and piece out of there.
That's
He's
the
like,
deal,
"No."
yeah. And he reaches over and stops it, and then he turns off the keys and takes it, and he's like, you're not meant for this world. Like, this is, my problem, not yours. And he steps out and he throws the keys over the side into the water. And if I'm a cop, I'm like,
dramatic.
oh man, no,
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
this
I
fucking
know.
thing.
I was
Car.
pissed about that. It's nice.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this scene in theaters, and once they pull up to the bridge and slow down, I remember having this moment of like, okay, how are they going to end this? Like, how are they going to wrap this up? And pretty much from that moment on, I'm like, I don't really like this movie. This is really falling apart for me.
The last like 3
pretty
minutes
short,
of the
though.
see
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I
it's
like
could
to
just
see
see
it,
it.
like, that's the
from here
thing,
he gets
I-
apprehended. From here he gets apprehended. He's, they grab him, they do it. Then we see him in court where, it's all the people we saw earlier that he was, that saw him be involved but not be a main player, right? We get the woman with the purse, we get the post office lady, we get Deborah, we get Joseph, who are all like, no, he's a good person. It's just like, yeah, he's had a bad, lot in life. And you know what? He loves music, and he makes, let me tell you, I've never seen somebody take a piece of paper and put it through two butt cheeks better to make a song that's fucking on one tape. And I turned to the judge and I'm like, that's what he should be on trial for, sir. He's just wasting tape. What is the rest? I tell you, it's one song, 3 minutes. It's a great song too. Then it's 15 minutes of silence. Then it's him whispering a ghost story. That's over. Come on.
I love Greg's committal to that bit because he looked over at the judge the entire time he was talking, which is great.
Nick,
I fucking love you, Greg. I love you, Greg.
I love being in the scene.
You were
What's that, Grover?
I believed it. Grover.
Come on.
Oh, he's on your lap.
He's on his
Oh, no.
I really lost it now. You know what I mean? Oh, get it off my face.
Oh man.
So
All right, go see your mom.
a question for everyone. Does that girl get time in prison? Like, yeah, right?
Should.
Because she was
No,
like
she doesn't,
helping
but she
a
should.
criminal. I mean, we don't know.
No, I mean,
like, they don't show
you
that.
have to
But
imagine
I
that
don't
a
think
big
she
defense
does.
lawyer is like, dude, a guy came in with a gun. She had no idea what was going on, and then there was
Well,
just guns everywhere.
It was in the. It was on the news like the whole day, right?
Yeah, I mean,
What,
she
that
was
she-
aiding,
yeah, but-
she was aiding and abetting Kevin. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, she should go to jail.
going
But
to
then
jail
the fact
time.
that she's writing him like, can't wait till you're out of jail, and he's like, fuck, you didn't go to jail? What the fuck?
He's like, damn, that sucks. She's like, and then she's like putting in P.S. Can't wait to rob more places with you. I got away scot free. Super easy for me. Grover, watch
I
out.
brought Grover
Yeah,
over.
I do. It was the best part of my day.
Of either delusion or improv, and I'm not sure where I'm at.
Both. The best art is both.
It's been 14 years of podcasting. It's the first time.
Greg, this is what it, by the way,
Up in here.
Greg, this is what it looked like from our perspective. Grover? And then you proceeded to just hold, like, give him the dad safety hold.
And then at one point, Greg, he cleaned something off your face.
Which I want to say, like, in my mind, it wasn't with his hands. He licked your face.
No, it was his hand. It was his right hand.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
his right hand.
That was clear.
Oh God. Okay, yeah. And so then baby's in jail, and he gets a bunch of postcards that we would assume means that it starts with the diner. But we would assume that, yeah, Deborah's on her road trip going across and sending him postcards and shit. One of them being Route 66, which in my interpretation is when he puts it up there. He has that daydream that is akin to the daydream he had earlier of them in black and white. And even though, yes, this one does colorize, I don't think, you know, he gets 5 years or whatever. He had 25 years, but 5 years, possibility for
With
parole in 5
parole,
years, right?
yeah.
So I found the quote that I was looking for. In Baby Driver, do you understand what the rainbow in the last scene means? Remember the teller tells him about the Dolly Parton quote. He says, Dolly Parton, I like her. And she says, everybody wants happiness, nobody wants pain, but there can't be a rainbow without a little rain. He goes through the 5-year incarceration to get to the rainbow.
Yeah, I mean, for me visually, Tim, you nailed it. When the fact that it's black and white means, hey, this is a dream or like a flashback, right? But then the fact that it comes out and goes to color means that there's a realization of whatever that dream or flashback was. So
thing
to
about
me,
it
it was like it was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be a positive ending for him either way. I don't think you're supposed to be left with the feeling of he's rotting away in jail, never having made parole. Meanwhile, she's out there robbing banks left and right, giving him postcards just to taunt him like an evil like temptress.
Well, I mean, the fact that the rainbow's there, I think, is part of it being a fantasy. And then also the fact of watching it right now on Amazon while I talk to you, like, it's not the same color palette as any of reality. Like, it is this
very
blown,
glowy,
this
dreamy
bloom
kind of
to
state.
it.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I don't think it's reality. I don't think it's reality necessarily. I think the what they're
Implication.
inferring or implying rather is
Yeah.
that he has a happy
They're
ending.
gonna end up there eventually. I don't think that they
That's
ended up there now.
Yeah,
Why
I
don't
don't mean like he rolled up his sleeves and was like wop babaloo bam
What
wop,
is
you know,
Craig
like
laughing at?
I'm gonna
What is
walk
Craig
out.
Look at Craig laughing.
Is Grover in the kitchen? What's he doing? Is he giving him some cookies? What's happening with Grover?
I saw him crawl off the couch. I saw him walk. I just looked and there was like a T-posed Grover.
What's about
Like,
to
he
happen?
existed in this
What's about
reality.
to happen in 3 weeks from now? People will go, remember Greg's last episode? Like, we,
Yeah,
I wonder
like
when-
the signs
wonder
are
when
so
we'll see him
clear.
again.
The signs are so clear. Is what they'll say.
It's just a notepad. It's like the
I hope he's
screenshot of a
okay.
notepad on Tim's phone. I'm just like,
Yo.
Greg needs to take some time off.
I forgot what Grover looked like at Googling.
Me too. I totally.
It's
You're a
scary.
sick
It's scary.
fuck.
I was
Greg.
thinking Cookie Monster, or like not Cookie
No.
Monster, the bigger one, but Grover is terrifying. You're seeing this right now, Greg. It's time to take a nap.
All right, Andy, hit me with it.
1 second. Here we go. 7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review.
Shout out to that oat milk commercial, Andy, because you're so right. That is the most Andy Cortez ass song I've ever heard.
Yeah, Tim just asked me to write it out of nowhere.
Nailed it. You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write your review in haiku form, just like Miscellaneous did, back with another plot in review. One more job. I'm done. Winning, dining, having fun. Fuck. Another one. Worried about trust, even though he makes no fuss. Babies, looking sus. He killed bats. That's neat. Firing bullets to the beat. This soundtrack is sweet. His sentence slated for 5 years. His home gated. Incarcerated.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Really good.
Motherfucker
wrote
used
that?
incarcerated in a haiku.
That's really good.
That was Miscellaneous.
Okay.
Killing the game, always. Spragu says, Kevin Spacey sucks and Ansel's a creep, but John Hamm is the man.
He's so cool.
Mizzou's John Hamm.
Mizzou's John Hamm, yes. Andrew Feisner says, freedom, desire, the soundtrack, be straight fire. Now squeal them tires. Squeal. Good word.
Squeal.
That's it. There we go. Those are our
How they
haikus.
squeal tires on the road.
Let's do a little ragu.
Ragu.
Yes,
Bagu.
Andy, yes.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, the podcast within a podcast where we rank all the villains. Or wait, what are we doing this one? No, pro tags. This is Ragu Pro Tag, where we are all the protagonists of the Edgar Wright cinematic universe. Currently, the rankings look like this. Number 1, Nicholas, Angel, and Danny from Hot Fuzz. Number 2, Shaun and Ed from Shaun of the Dead. Number 4, Scott Pilgrim. And number 5, Simon Pegg in World's End. Where do we want to put Baby? Maybe.
Somewhere in the middle, like right in the middle, maybe. He's very bland, but also not like.
I like
hate
him a lot, and he does cool things, yeah.
Yeah, but like
I put him under
does he do
Scott.
cool things? Well,
I put him
under
above Scott Pilgrim.
That's what I said.
I put him under Scott. I feel like Scott's a much more complex and conflicted character. I think there's just more stuff there for him from a character standpoint. I think Baby does
You
cool
think
things,
he's
but
more
again,
complex?
Yeah.
than
And
Baby.
that sounded really
Yeah.
indignant. I apologize.
That's okay.
I know. I meant
I just
it that
disagree
way.
because, I mean, again, this is my personal criticism of Scott Pilgrim. Not like, again, it's not until the very end of Scott Pilgrim where Scott learns self-respect, and again, it's just told to us what he's doing. But Baby Driver is conflicted Baby is conflicted the entire movie, right? He doesn't want to do this Kevin Spacey stuff. He doesn't want to hurt people, but he's in over his head and has to. And then even when he thinks he's out, we get that moment of him trying to start a normal life, getting a normal job, trying to be a normal person. He's pulled back in because he loves people. Scott Pilgrim doesn't love anybody, right? Arguably until the end, if you want, when he learns self-respect,
Yeah, I guess
they'll
that's
magically
true.
fix everything. I just think Baby is a three-dimensional character, whereas I think Scott Pilgrim is what you see until you get told, no, he's not that anymore. He's this.
Yeah, I think maybe I just enjoyed watching Michael Cera's performance more than Ansel.
Yeah. That's
fair.
I
That's
think
fair.
he just had a little bit more to work with there from like a comedic stand, and he got to the action and stuff like that too. Whereas I just feel like Ansel was just a little bit too bland for me in this. Like he's a little too starched,
I don't
So
disagree.
stiff. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Not starched. Stiff.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of include the actual performance in there as well, because I do think Ansel's, or I do think Baby's story, or Miles rather, is a lot. I think his arc is a lot cooler and more interesting than Scott's is, but I'm gonna include Michael Cera being really entertaining in there as well. So I'm gonna go below Scott Pilgrim.
Okay. Seems like then the votes are to put it below Scott Pilgrim.
So now it is time to rank the Edgar Wright movies. Currently, number 1 is Hot Fuzz. Number 2, Shaun of the Dead. Number 3, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And number 4, The World's End. To me, this is the easiest one we've had to rank so far. I put it right there in that open spot at number 4.
Bold. I would consider putting this above The World's End because I feel like this had some
that is
really
what he
unique
said.
action set pieces.
That's
that
exactly
is what
where
he's
Tim
saying.
just put
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. I thought you said open spot at the end. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes.
It's okay.
I agree with you, Tim. I would put that because I think The World's End just kind of was very bland, whereas this for me had some very entertaining set pieces as far as like the car action was concerned, and I liked all that stuff. I didn't particularly care for a lot of the characterization stuff, but to me it was like once that stuff was over and he got back in the car, I was like, this is really cool stuff I haven't seen before.
I like it a lot more than Scott Pilgrim, but I did not enjoy him. Can you leave that up, actually? The Scott Pilgrim movie, obviously. I would put it right up, again, in front of Scott Pilgrim, but then it gets interesting, and I think it comes into personal preference now of where you want to go. Like, I love Shaun of the Dead so much, but I do think this is a better movie, but I do love Shaun of the Dead. So it gets interesting.
I mean, not that I need to argue this, but like, I just don't think it's a better movie than Shaun of the Dead because Shaun of the Dead kind of just it nails what it was going for. Whereas I feel like Baby Driver, the thing that it nailed was being really damn cool. But
that's a good point.
There's so many elements of this movie, like Joe, like the character of his dad, that's so cool, but they just don't go far enough with it. Where it's like this movie feels very surface level with any of its actual character moments where it's like, yeah, sure, they show us instead of telling us about Baby's development, but so much of it is based on like pretty cliche things of like, okay, well, his parents died and, you know, like his mom specifically died. And so much of it's based on that. And like for every time they add an element to the world that's so cool with the music and with the, like the way that the elements of him having a bunch of iPods and him making beats out of like the way people talk to him and all that stuff's cool. I just don't think it really adds into a believable character or world in a way that Shaun of the Dead is entirely like consistent.
That's true. All right,
Well, I think
I'm with you.
mean,
I say below Shaun of the Dead, above Scott Pilgrim for my vote.
Below Shaun of the Dead.
yeah, I think Tim, to sort of riff off that for a second, like I will. Sorry, I think you said a lot of this is show don't tell. I would disagree. I would say that a lot of the backstory we are told, this is why this kid is cool and this is what's going on, which I just don't vibe with. You know, I think we get to see him do awesome stuff, but a lot of that backstory and stuff like that, I just feel like it's spoon-fed to us, and it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't make that character real. Like he doesn't feel like he really stands out. Whereas Scott Pilgrim, I hated the character, but he felt like he was a three-dimensional character that was a little shithead that Michael Cera nailed. And so to me, I think a lot of that was why this movie kind of got held back for me, because I keep coming back to the baby character and just thinking, it's just kind of bland for me. There's nothing really there. Get in a car.
Andy.
I'm going to end up putting this, I agree with Tim. I'm going to put this at number 4 underneath Scott Pilgrim. I think it's still like a really damn fun movie to watch. I don't think it's as complete as Scott Pilgrim is. And I'm putting Scott Pilgrim obviously at a level below the first two of the Cornetto trilogy, because I think those movies are just so fucking airtight, where I think, I guess I'm like comparing this, what would I want to show somebody who's never seen these movies before first? And I think I would go with Scott Pilgrim because it is so quippy and each line of dialogue is so funny and interesting, and there's always a visual sort of gag to go along with the lines of dialogue. And with Baby Driver, I think it's still a damn fine movie, but I wanted them to go a little bit further with the characters and what they're sort of, I guess, what happens to them. I guess I'm so sad about the dad, just not really. I'm just getting kind of written off because they need to hurry up and get to the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kev, where do you put it?
This is really tricky because I think it's right around there. Scott Pilgrim though, I like so much, and there's so much of that comedy that like hits. But I think that as a film, this movie is just a little bit tighter in all the best ways. It still has the issues with like the songs and all those things where it's like, I wish they had done songs that meant more for me, but like with the songs that he used were used so perfectly that like I'm glad he made the decisions that he did. So I guess for me, I'd have to put this right above Scott Pilgrim. So 3.
So let's do the vote. Who thinks it's better than The World's End? Raise your hand. Everybody. Who thinks it's better than Scott Pilgrim? Raise your hand. Greg and Kevin raise their hands.
Grover's
so that
hands
means
up. Grover's hands up.
Both of them are. Yeah. Oh, fucking. I hate
Terrifying.
I hate that so much. So the rankings are number 1, Hot Fuzz. Number 2, Shaun of the Dead. Number 3, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Number 4, Baby Driver. And number 5, The World's End. Like I said, this week we're going to continue Indiana Jones in review. And next week we start with Magic Mike in review with special guests Joey Noel and Chris Anka. Anka?
Nice.
Which one is
Chris
it?
Anka.
Chris Anka. Very
The
excited.
weapons arbiter himself. I can't wait for that. That's great.
Get arborated. Until next time.
Bye.
My